Spooky Tuesday.
Would you wear a shoe on your head? Of course you wouldn't wear a shoe on your head. A shoe doesn't belong on your head. A shoe belongs on your foot. A hat belongs on your head. I am a hat. You are a shoe. I belong on the head. You belong on the foot. Yes, so it is.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And this week we are joined by a special guest. You may know who he is if you were listening at the end of our last episode when we teased it, but we've got him here with us on Zoom today. Kristian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, hi there. My name is Kristian Bruun. I am an actor and I've been in some stuff.
Amazing. He was in Ready or Not. You might recognize him from Ready or Not. And when we covered that movie last year, we just tagged him incessantly in all of our social posts.
Constantly,
And he was so
A
nice
lot.
about it. And he like responded to things. And then I DM'd him when the week was over to be like, thank you for not being so annoyed by us all the time. And then he continued to be nice. And I honestly did not think that it was a serious ask when I was like, well, if you ever want to be on the podcast, let us know. But he said that he would want to be on the podcast
And here I am. I'm
It's happening.
I love being on podcasts. What can I say? It's always a good time. Especially when we're talking about horror films.
Especially when we're talking about horror films. But we dabbled in some other ideas of what episodes Kristian could be on. Recently, we were stalking his IMDb and we saw that he's going to be in season 3 of the Snowpiercer TV show. And we hadn't done the Snowpiercer movie yet. And we thought, what a perfect opportunity to have him join us for that. Kristian, what did you know? Had you seen the movie before you got involved with the TV show?
Yeah, I saw it years ago. I think when it first came out, or maybe a couple years after it came out. And I remember liking it, but I didn't remember a lot about it. And my old boss from Orphan Black, which was another TV show that I did.
Incredible TV show. Love it.
Such a good one. So much fun. Love it. Near and dear to my heart. But my old boss, Graham, who was one of the co-creators of Orphan Black, was showrunning Snowpiercer with another one of our head writers and producers from Orphan Black, Aubrey Nealon. And so I knew that they were both working on the show and we'd kept in touch, and I hang out with them whenever we're in the same city. And yeah, I found myself in Vancouver, BC last winter during the pandemic. And they knew I was in town and they're like, oh, buddy, we're going to throw you into the show. And I was like, okay, go for it. Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Just pals being buds and working together again. Very cute.
I love that. I love working with people that I love to work with. It's when you have that sort of relationship and you're good collaborators and they know how to write for you as well. It's always good to like have a little bit of a reunion on a different set.
Very cool.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to work with their friends? That's the best thing.
It's the best thing, like you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's working out pretty well so far.
Do you guys
you
actually
know.
hang out in person, or do you only see each other
Only over Zoom.
in podcast form?
This is
Yeah,
actually
just Zoom.
strictly professional.
Right,
I was just trying to vibe with you. We hate each other
Okay,
outside.
I thought so.
I don't live in LA anymore like they did. I moved a while ago. So this is unfortunately the most
Yeah.
interaction that I
Oh,
get with
no.
them.
Sydney is actually just Zoom. Yeah.
Fair
But,
enough.
We
we text all the time. Imagine how often we tagged you in things. Imagine how often we talk.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm starting to get an idea.
Also,
Oh, yeah.
it's great that you actually responded to us because it reminded us that people can see the content that we produce and then subsequently tag them in. Before we'd had like a couple of instances where the wall had been broken, but it's just like, oh yeah, people can see the unhinged shit we post online.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Great
I check
reminder.
that stuff out all the time. I love seeing what people have tagged me in and what for. It's always entertaining. I don't always respond to it. For the most part, I try to. And especially if like a fan has a question, or every once in a while I'll get like some random film student with questions or an acting student with questions, like, oh yeah, let me like answer some questions for you. But for the most part, it's just really, really entertaining. And also that there, so I don't know if it's the same with regular Instagram. I sound like such a fucking dork right now, but I'm verified.
Oh, on celebrity
so
Instagram is a
yeah, I know.
Celebrity Instagram. Yeah, we know about that too.
Well, you've got like your
probably
DMs. Listen, when you're verified, you've got your like
famous, like
your yeah, exactly. You've got your DMs that like people that you follow. You can see when they chat, like your friends and whatnot. And then there's an other folder for people that you don't follow who are trying to contact you, and that is where you find the most entertaining shit. Some people don't even know it's there. They don't even check it.
Who was that celebrity recently, that rapper who found a bunch of like celebrity DMs in their other folder? Wasn't that like
that's right.
It was T-Pain.
And
Yeah,
he was like,
that's right.
you guys want to work together?
He's had like
hilarious
iconic people be like, let's do a collab, and he's like, had no clue.
Yeah.
I think us normies do have that feature though. I think we do have the request folder. So
you guys should be verified. You're out there. You're podcasting.
Hello, Instagram.
Okay,
Instagram. Instagram, are you listening? We do have 4,000 followers now, and so I think like 1,000 ago they gave us the 2 different folders, but we did get a really, really interesting other message the other day. We don't get that many,
right?
But it literally said, and if this is you, listener, we're not making fun of you. We loved this. It said, "Do you guys buy haunted dolls?"
Okay, and then they immediately were like, "We don't, but Sydney might." And I was like, "I could get in a haunted doll."
Oh my God, that is the last thing I would want in my apartment is a haunted doll.
Frankly,
are you crazy?
You're right, and you should say it. And I would not invite that energy into my home. But Sydney loves to live on the edge. She's wait, Monica's the bad girl.
As I'm the bad girl of the pod. Yes, Sydney is. What are you, Sydney?
I'm the unhinged one.
She's enigmatic,
but I'm ready to roll with it.
Yeah.
Chelsea's the good girl.
Sure.
Okay, well, just so you know, as a bad girl of the pod, and as the girl who has haunted puppets in my basement, Kristian, there are basement puppets at my apartment that I thought were the children. I thought they were from the children of my next door neighbor who moved out, and so I sent pictures of them to her, and I was like, "Hey, you left your puppets here," and she was like, "Monica, I have never seen those puppets in my life. Close the box." And they're still down there.
Get out of the house. The call is coming from inside the house. Get out.
If there's a market for haunted dolls, though, I think you should ask that messenger like how they got into the biz. Ooh. This could be a profitable endeavor for you.
I think that's bad idea. Like, that's just leave them alone. No, don't touch them. Don't move them, because they might get mad that they've been moved, and like you don't know what's going to happen.
I'm with Kristian.
No, so grateful.
It goes against my morals. I don't do Ouija boards or Ouija boards.
Oh, those things freak me out. I love them as a kid, but they really freak me out.
I've never done it. I'm never going to do it. Touching the puppets is the same thing. And like just a little details to paint the picture for you. They're not like porcelain doll puppets or something, or marionettes. They're like Avenue Q style, which is like modern, but still
so kind of
upsetting.
Cute, a little cute,
like Muppety.
I want to see like a Conjuring, or no, wait, what is the one with that's the couple. Annabelle. Yeah, it's like the same couple that go and collect all these objects. I want to see some Avenue Q level, or maybe like a parody, almost like Scary Movie, but instead of like an Annabelle doll, it's like an Avenue Q, like Sesame Street Muppet.
Well, the original Annabelle was a Raggedy Ann.
Right. Oh my God.
Which is just like a normal looking little doll. And they threw a Raggedy Ann in Annabelle Creation, which we did during Doll Month.
Oh yeah. We had a whole month of dolls.
Oh, that reminds me of my childhood, because that was like so I'm half like Norwegian, Swedish, and Finnish, and my Swedish bestamor, or best grandmother, she always would talk about, or like when I was a kid, I remember her talking about Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy, because the male one was Raggedy Andy, and there was Raggedy Ann. Also, like, terrible name.
Yeah.
It's like
Raggedy.
Ratchety. Today would be Ratchety. Ratchety Ann and Ratchety Andy.
Yeah,
But that just
I've
reminds
never
me of my
really-
grandmother, which that's crazy.
I've never really thought about the words. You just like say them, right? Because it's been a brand for so long. But you're
Yeah.
so right. That's super mean to poor Anne and Andy. Let
Yeah.
them live. They look fine. They're doing fine.
Seriously.
Bring back a yassified Anne and Andy.
Please.
no.
Somebody probably has yassified them on the internet for sure.
Mhm.
I can't. We can't go deep into
We can't-
yassification
no, we already
right
we
now.
already were doing our yassified discussion before we started recording. It's fine.
You should do a whole
good.
yassified episode.
Mini-sode one
cool.
day.
One
Yeah.
episode where we actually all dress up and wear makeup and all of that. We did that for our last episode. We dressed up for Matthew Lillard's birthday episode.
Understandable. It's a milestone each year. It's very important. I get it.
Yeah.
Very
But this is
important.
also a milestone for us. Our first, I know you said you're not a celebrity, but you're
Nah.
our first celebrity.
You're
Whoa.
verified. You're a
Um,
celebrity.
I'm verified. There's a lot of people who are verified that are not
not
worthy
us,
of the
so-
verification.
Not
Yeah, well,
us.
that's you guys deserve it. That's bullshit.
Okay,
it might
well,
be just about time though to segue into our movie discussion.
yeah. So let me give
Mhm.
you guys a breakdown, listeners. If you have not watched this film,
Well,
pause.
we haven't even said it, but we have because we talked about it. at the
Yeah,
beginning,
we've said it.
obviously.
We've said it.
I'm
And
listening.
so
I'm paying attention.
every episode we read the IMDb plot synopsis thing. Just so you know, not the plot synopsis. My God, we'd be sitting here for 15 minutes. Just the little blurb. So this is what it
Mhm.
says on IMDb. In a future where a failed climate change experiment has killed all life except for the survivors who boarded the Snowpiercer, in parentheses, a train that travels around the globe, a new class system emerges. Wow.
To me, when I was watching the movie, my summary would have been it's like the Titanic, but if everybody not on the Titanic hit an iceberg. That's how I felt.
I think that's more succinct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
Also-
really communicates what we need to get across. It's got the different levels to it, the different classes boarding at different times, some people escape right into the boats, some people are down on the bottom of the ship, etc. It tracks as metaphor. So
Also, that metaphor is better than the synopsis because the synopsis is wrong. It says like what does it say at the very end? Like a new class system emergency.
Emerges.
That's the same ass class system as we have here. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's the same shit. Absolutely the same shit.
On a train
Just,
now.
Yeah, exactly.
A little smooshed.
Yeah,
Or streamlined, kind of put into a tube.
exactly. Maybe they were trying to set up something new by just having Richie Riches on a train, but they got all them stowaways. They got those tailies in there.
The tailies. Yeah, okay. So I watched the first episode of the show yesterday, so I got a little bit confused. But
Mhm.
in the movie, did the tailies get onto the train in a similar way where they like bombarded it? I think I missed that in watching.
That's
the
right,
film.
because I had the same issue when I was watching Snowpiercer, the film, because I had all those visuals of them like cramming onto the train and getting on there. And I started getting confused because I've watched the show up till season 3 when I was jumping in. And so all the knowledge of the show has like blended into my storytelling knowledge of the film. And so, yeah, I was getting really confused as to what information we were going to get. That was from the show, how they all like pushed in. I think they were in Chicago or something like that. And they all like pushed onto the train. Yeah, we don't get that in the film.
It's a really intense opening scene.
Yeah.
I really like the show so far. I'm super excited to watch the rest of it. And I also think that like we're gonna get into the whole movie, but the story kind of calls for a TV show or a longer telling. I didn't know that it was originally comics, which makes a lot of sense because there's so much that happens in this movie.
I think it's a French graphic novel or something like that.
Yeah.
Originally. Right.
And it was for a few years. So I mean that's a lot of
Got a lot of
I don't
material
know.
to mine from. Right.
Yeah, I did briefly skim an article that was like the similarities and differences between the movie and the TV show. And it says that the TV show is a prequel, but it also seems to suggest, just based on what I read, that it is not necessarily going to end up in the same place as the movie. I don't know about that, but it seemed it's like changing a lot of the canon that you could argue is like set up by the movie.
Right.
Because there's like whole other stuff going on.
It's like totally different characters. I see them as like two separate entities. They're like they're both born from the same source material, but I think the TV show more follows the graphic novel than the film, but the film lends a lot of the design aspects to the TV show. So you get the same sort of claustrophobic feeling that you have in the film, and you know, the different designs of the cars. Yeah. And what I like about the TV show is at the beginning of every episode, they tell you how many cars are in Snowpiercer, and it changes if something happens and they have to like get rid of a car or something like that. That all changes. Yeah. Which you don't really get a concept of in the movie, because in the movie they kind of like run through. Yeah.
Well, the movie they don't show the whole train. They can't. I mean, the movie, how long was it? It was 2 hours and like 6 minutes long or something like that.
It was very
apparently long. Yeah, it was very long. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'd seen this movie before. The Chelsea and Sydney hadn't, right? You guys had.
Yeah. It was my first time.
And so I had seen it before. I remembered really liking it, but I remember being deeply depressed by it and it being really long. And I was like, oh God, I can't handle this. But I was like, I have to watch it because I have to be prepared because we have Kristian coming on. And so I have to do this earlier than I normally would. But like for a 2 hour movie, 2 hour and 6 minute movie, excuse me. It's pretty well paced for me, at least.
It slows down a little bit before you get into the like explosive ending.
Yeah.
But you kind of need that because it's like go the whole way through.
It's a lot of information.
Totally. Yeah. But I just don't think they would be able to run through like 1,000 train cars in one day. Like that would take multiple days, especially if you're fighting your way through. And there's like the TV show gives you a better idea of really how many people are on this massive train. Whereas the movie, it's like they're able to get from the tail to the front and through everybody, but you don't really get a concept that there's a lot of people on that train, or that it's really
lots of empty space.
Yeah.
Lots of empty space for sure.
And I watched it with my boyfriend Adam, and Adam was like, where the hell do all these people sleep? Like we never see a sleep car for the fancy people in the front. Even, you know, we understand where the tailies are. They even called tailies in the movie?
I think so.
We are, right?
See, this is where my knowledge is getting like smashed in.
I literally deleted.
Or just the tail.
My memory.
Just the tail.
Yeah.
So Taily is fine.
I think it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fun to say. Because the tailies, we know where they sleep because it's the same place that they live. But like we see all these other cars. There's like one car where it looks like maybe one lady sleeps, but like there's hundreds of people. So I think they skip a lot, and they had to, because apparently there was this huge fight between the director Bong Joon Ho, who is incredible. I mean, he did Parasite. He's incredible. I love him.
Absolutely.
But he had a huge fight with the Weinsteins about the runtime of this movie.
That was one other thing. When I saw the Weinstein Company come up, like the logo come up at the very beginning of the film, I really like shuddered and cringed.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with watching so many and like they produced good movies. Like there was really some, you know, Oscar winners and stuff like that came out of that
Scream
company,
3,
but
etc.
Exactly. And there's no way that you can, you know, you cannot but think of Harvey Weinstein when you see that logo, and it just
I would
such
love
a bummer
to know what his influence was on this film too, because there was like a specific shot in here that they really fought over that like made headlines, especially after Bong Joon Ho won his Oscars. That was about the fish scene. Because Bong Joon Ho really wanted to include the fish scene in this movie, and Harvey Weinstein was like, no, we want action. And so Bong Joon Ho was like, my father was a fisherman and it's important to me. And then Harvey Weinstein was like, wow, family, I understand. And then Bong Joon Ho was like, fuck that guy. My dad was not a fisherman. I love to lie.
I love that. I love that.
That's amazing.
Also, do you think it was the scene where the fish is getting gutted, or the scene where Chris Evans slips on the fish in the middle of a fight scene?
I fucking forgot.
Or the sushi
about
scene.
Yeah, the sushi scene and the aquarium, which I love an aquarium. So I would also want to keep that in the movie. I love a good aquarium.
That's a great aquarium.
Oh yeah. One time, this is you want to know problematic fact about me. I don't tell people this. I went to SeaWorld camp as a child. The pod already knows about it. I went to SeaWorld camp as a child because I was a bad person. And I didn't know about Blackfish hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, part of that, we got to sleep under one of those like tube parts of an aquarium.
Nope. I walked through those. There's no sleeping under one of those. Are you crazy?
I slept under one of them and it was so sick.
Says the lady with like haunted dolls, Avenue Q dolls.
Sure.
I didn't make that choice, Kristian. Okay.
That's fair.
It was thrust upon me.
We slept under an aquarium one day, and that chain of events rolled down the line.
People having haunted dolls in your basement, Monica.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have gone to SeaWorld, Monica.
They're gonna get you.
True. Are the puppets haunted by like the ghost of Shamu or something like that? Is that what it is?
Oh,
don't say that.
Poor Shamu.
Poor Shamu. Anyway, fish.
No SeaWorld on. Well, I guess it's kind of a SeaWorld in that aquarium, but they needed to maintain. They needed to maintain those species, so you know it's kind of important.
It's the arc. It's the
You know what? Can we skip to the end for a second?
Yeah, there's no rules on this podcast.
There's no rules.
Here's the thing. So I read an article about the end, because at the end we only see two people and a polar bear. And apparently people on Reddit who are like to be sad maybe were like, they're gonna get eaten by that polar bear immediately. This is a sad ending. And then Bong Joon Ho is like, no, it's a happy ending. But what he said also didn't seem that like ideal to me, because it sounded like he's relying on those two people to repopulate the earth.
Yeah, that's not a good.
That was my immediate
5-year-old boy.
5 years.
That was my immediate thought. I was
shocked, like how many cars bit it in the end of that film. I didn't remember that at all. Like the majority, like a lot of people. There might be some people who are still alive, but a lot of them definitely died a terrible death at the end of that film.
They fell into a ravine.
Yeah,
and exploded.
They are like, absolutely, but those two people are dead for sure. I have to agree with these Reddit pessimists.
Wow, a hater.
Because I filmed a film up in the Arctic last year. November of 20. What was the shit year? 2020. Oh no, the last three have been shit. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What was the shit year? Come on.
I was lucky enough to work on a sci-fi horror action film up in the Arctic in November of 2020. It's called Slashback. I think it's going to be coming out this year.
We'll have our peepers out.
Yeah, it's really, really fucking cool. And it takes place up in Nunavut in Canada. So it's actually like a day's walk to the Arctic Circle. So we were like way out there, and I got to like snowmobile on the tundra, like in the snow, and shoot in the snow all day. It was an insane filming experience. One of the most fun, but like that's nuts. So like cool. There was no, like we were outside in the Arctic all day in the snow in November, but that was like fall weather for them. And it was, I don't know in Fahrenheit, it was minus 20 degrees Celsius. So for them, they're like, this isn't bad. This isn't really crazy winter yet. But one thing I didn't know, I went out for a walk late at night. I was billeting with an Inuit couple that lived in this tiny fly-in town. Like you fly in and land on ice basically. Wow. And snow and ice. It's crazy.
You have firsthand experience with the setting.
This is
totally.
Wow.
Okay, keep going.
And so this my billet that I was staying with, he was like, oh, you should go for a walk tonight. There's no clouds in the sky, and I think the moon will be really nice. Just walk out past town on like this nice road and look up. It's gonna be gorgeous. So I was like, okay. Took me 10 minutes to suit up with like full snow gear and everything, like many layers. And I go tromping out of town, and I take this kind of abandoned road that goes into the dark to a snowed over campsite, basically, that you can only really use in the summer. And for like couple months of summer. And so I walked out and I'm looking up at the stars and they're so gorgeous. And this was like my first night that I was staying in the Arctic. And it was really, really freaking cold, but the moon was gorgeous and big and taking up so much of the sky. And then all of a sudden the northern lights just burst above my head and just came out. And I was by myself and I was trying to text other people who were on the production being like, the northern lights are here. You got to get outside. The northern lights are here. And it was so cold that my fingers wouldn't register on my touch screen of my iPhone.
Oh my
So it was only
God.
like every other letter or every 3 letters it would come out. And so nobody was able to get the text messages. And I was just standing there watching the northern lights above me. I took many pictures. I was able to get like iPhone cameras actually do very well in the Arctic.
No,
apparently.
they don't. That's a lie.
I
Mine
have
can never
great
take a picture of the
photos.
moon.
I'm telling you, it really worked out. And the next day I was telling my cast and I was and the crew and how thrilling it was. And one of the local guys there was like, well, did you have a gun with you? And I was like, what? He's like, did you have a rifle?
This
like,
is
no,
such a
I didn't have a
twist. What the
rifle. I'm
hell?
just going for a walk. And
I know.
like, there's polar bears everywhere. What are you doing going out? And I was like, no one told me to take a gun. Nobody told me my billet. He didn't give me his rifle. He's got rifles because they go hunting all the time. I was like, where was my rifle? Nobody gave me a rifle. Could have gotten eaten by it. I mean, he didn't know me at that point. So
maybe he was like, yeah, maybe it's a trap.
I'm just picturing you having this like life affirming, like,
oh, totally. I was crying. I was like, this is so
You're
beautiful.
Like basking in the earth's glow, like, wow, we're all connected by the sky. And there's a polar bear watching you, being like, should I?
Like, we're also connected by the world in the sky, though. Maybe you were safe because the polar bear felt in that moment. I
mean, that sounds like a very like
the world.
That sounds like a very LA influencer answer to that situation. But but the practical reality is these things will fucking eat you the first chance they get. And they were saying like last week before we came there, a polar bear had wandered into town and they had to shoot it. And I was like, oh, this is a very real place where people can die in an instant, whether it's from the extreme cold or from fucking polar bears that are just in nature out there. Like, you are not an apex predator up in the Arctic. You are just trying to fucking survive.
Yeah.
Honestly,
crazy.
I read an article like 2 days ago about bear attacks in New Hampshire. And so frankly, like, bears will get you wherever.
Sure.
But also I choose to exist and believe that this is a world where maybe this polar bear was born after everything else went to shit and it doesn't have any experiences of other people around. And if you saw a human person for the first time and you're a polar bear, if I'm a person and I saw an alien for the first time, I would not attack. I would keep my distance because I don't know what's going on over there. And the polar bear doesn't know what's going on with me, especially if I'm in a big fur coat. Maybe it thinks I'm also a bear. All right. So like, let's just leave some space for this. Maybe.
Reality hour, global warning.
Yeah, but
the polar bears are starving to death. It is. You're lucky to be alive, Kristian.
I mean, listen. It's hopeful in the sense that we've seen, to take it back to like Jurassic Park, life found a way. Like, there's other species that are existing in the world. That's very hopeful. But those 2 humans are dead. If it's not from the polar bear, it's from the cold. They have no food. They have no shelter. How are they going to propagate? Like, it's done.
They've got a lot of
humans are
they
done.
Can eat.
If that car didn't go into the chasm,
Exactly.
they have to
They're
nice
and barbecued, prepared for eating.
Also, like, let's think about it. Do we want I want them to survive. Obviously, that's the cutest little boy I've ever seen, and I freaking love that girl. What's her character's name? Yona. I love her. She's so funny, and I love that actress too. If you've seen The Host, which is also
The Host.
Bong.
It's so good.
God, I just saw it for the first
time. I have to give that a rewatch. Yeah, you guys should definitely do that one on the pod. It's one of the best monster films out there.
It's very emotional too, and it's funny, and it also has the actor who plays Nam. Is that I think that's
yeah. He loves that guy. He was in Parasite too.
He's so good.
It's the same thing like Kristian was saying. Why wouldn't you want to work with your friends? He's homies with these people. So
true.
But I had a point. What was I saying? Does anyone know?
You were saying that
was-
you're
Oh,
so
I
excited
remember.
everyone's gonna make it.
No. How dare you try to insert
This cute kid, and yeah,
You were
don't
like, it's
insert
so cool,
optimism
I
in
love
this.
it. Yeah.
Okay, but like, let's go real dark here. Like, what will the human race look like if it's just two people who create the whole rest of the human race? That's a lot of
Not
inbreeding,
good.
baby.
If
Not
you
good.
A
believe
lot
the
of
Bible,
inbreeding.
the human race already started with Adam and Eve, etc. So
Can you stop trying to
Wow.
bring religion into this? I'm kidding.
hey, although the teacher, the schoolroom, that was so unbelievably terrifying Sunday school stuff in there. That was
Alison
unbelievably
Pill,
terrifying
yeah,
Sunday school
Alison
stuff.
Pill, she's amazing. Such a good
She's
actor.
So great. I
Yeah.
mean, I just
So
love,
many good, amazing actors in this film. Also,
yeah, who
this film very early on teaches you that no one is safe and that even big star names are going to get the fucking like killed off so quickly. It's nobody is safe. It's amazing.
I mean, the thing
It
is,
got-
there's so many big name actors in this that they're gonna have to die because almost every single person is like, I mean, Octavia Spencer, Chris
Mhm.
Evans, Tilda
Tilda
Swinton.
Swinton. Oh,
Tilda in
amazing.
this. Oh my god. Her character
where's her
is so
spin-off
funny.
film? I would just watch a prequel of just her character running around doing stuff.
And I
Season
just think
4.
it's so fucking funny that literally that character, you could have just picked her up and dropped her into a Wes Anderson film. She's dressed for the part. She's got the
Absolutely.
teeth. She's
Yeah.
ready for Wes's next film. Like
Her
it's
The
teeth
accent
were
is on
so
point.
distracting for
Ugh.
me. I just kept staring at her teeth the entire time. I was just like,
And
I
it
don't
was
know
so
why.
interesting because I was like, what a character choice that they've made for her. No, it's not a character choice that they made for Tilda Swinton, the actress. It was an in-universe choice that someone made for those dentures they created for her. She pops them out. Those are not attached to her body.
Wait, she
Like-
pops them out? Where did
Yeah,
I miss
them
that?
out
I
at
don't
one
know
point.
why that
It's
happened,
so
but she sure
weird.
does.
When did
I
she
don't know
pop
if
them
she-
out?
there,
I don't
it's like
know.
I think it might be in the like part of the scene where she first gets caught. And I don't know if she's trying to like humanize herself and be like, look, I'm not perfect. My teeth aren't real. But like she
Real.
just kind of takes him out for a second. And
How
it's
did
really
I miss that?
upsetting.
Was I like
and she puts
texting
him
or
back
something at
in.
that time? Oh my
Maybe.
God.
It was right after the part where they were like, Wilford likes kids. And I was like, because I was scared about what that meant.
Yeah, of course.
And then she does the whole,
reality
we
is
know you won't
real
harm
bad.
your own people.
Yeah.
Too bad you couldn't save your second in command. What's his name? Edgar. And then she pops her teeth out. And I was like, what
Right.
is happening and why?
But that
I'm
makes
going to
it
go
so
back
much-
and watch that moment because
And then it
that
went
sounds
right
great.
into how can I lead if I have two good arms, which like the payoff was worth it, but I really rewound that line 5 times to be like, am I missing a word?
Yeah.
What's going on here? I
This-
just
Well,
it was
that's
a
the
long game
thing.
for that one.
This movie we talked about, it's very long, but it's like also like not long enough to create this entire world for me. And so there
Mhm.
are things that they just kind of like are like, this is how it is. And they don't explain it. And because of that, like very serious things that happened in the film made me laugh. And they're very serious, very upsetting things.
It's so goofy. It's a really
so
goofy film.
goofy.
Yeah, I
Slips
forgot.
on a
I didn't
fish
realize that. Yeah.
mid-fight.
It's
Yeah.
Mid-fight, he
I
slips
know.
on a fish. I'm not over it.
what
camp.
what was the point of the fish? Like,
Was someone going to get
Funsies.
slapped with the fish? Yeah, like
Just for
right,
fun.
like they
the way I took it was this was like some sort of a poisonous fish and they were like running their blades through the blood of the fish so that they would get this poison that would like kill
yes.
people. That was the only
Okay.
thing that I could like logically work around with the fish.
I forgot
My-
when the fish was, and now I remember.
Or
Adam
is it
thinks
just
it's
extra
because it will give
dirty?
them a disease
Right,
when they
yeah.
get cut with it.
I thought
Or is it
maybe
just like
was
something
like,
dirty, like gross? Here you got some animal, like just add insult to injury.
Or was
something
it like
freaky.
this? There are so many revolts. Every few years we have a revolt. We later learned that's like by design, just to
Crazy.
keep the population down. But were they just being like, this is such an everyday event for us that you guys are rising up in revolt right now? We will literally not even stop butchering our fish.
or they could have been like, look at us in the not end of the train. We can just cut a fish to slice you up with because we have a fish.
Oh yeah, they're like, you haven't seen a fish in 18 years,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna fuck
Do you
around
even
with it
know
to
what it
upset
is?
you.
Yeah.
It's psychological warfare.
Yeah, could
Very
be.
effective.
Very
That
strange.
that scene is so insane. The fight scene. I know we're jumping all
Yes.
around, but welcome to Spooky Tuesday. The fight car just like is so that one felt like a graphic novel to me, or like more. I don't even know. The way it was lit, it kind of looked like it was drawn, and the masks
and then
like,
the like
some with the eyes,
darkening
some with the
everything out, and then
mouths.
you would just get slits of light here and there and like catch little things. It was really cool.
it was
Apparently,
really cool.
the lighting in that film like exclusively came from the torches. Like they didn't use any external lighting for that scene. Per
That's
IMDb
cool.
That
trivia,
scene
at
was
least.
so cool.
Yeah, I love how
Fuck
they did
Them
that.
running with the
Brutal.
torches. I was like, okay, this is badass.
Yeah.
And so sad too that Chris Evans, Curtis had to choose to like move forward
Oof.
and get Mason, aka Tilda, instead of save
The mission was
his
more important.
right hand man. Yeah, that's the thing. The mission is more important
Because
but
it's for saving humanity.
everyone, which makes sense in that moment. It makes so much sense because it's like to save humanity, and it's a
But
horrible
here's the
choice to have
thing.
to make.
He was wrong.
Yeah.
No one
yeah.
on this train is worth saving. Everybody has so debauched themselves in some form that they have like removed their humanity from them, whether it's people in the tail having to eat other people to survive, or people in the front ignoring people in the back and living these crazy debauched lives. Like no one seems to be worthy of being saved when you actually get like the huge twist that they've been eating each other in the back, or they like in the tail for a long time.
Yeah.
You kind of learn like, and you kind of see where Chris Evans makes the choice to just say, fuck it, we don't deserve to live. All of us are going to die, and tries to literally derail the human race, or what's left of it.
Literally
me,
derail.
Pun intended.
Yes, you're right. Let's take a moment for derail.
I don't even think that was a pun. That was, I made it literal. So
but
I liked it, whatever it was.
I agree with you at the point of view of the end of the movie. And I agree less in that let me break it down, because from the cannibalism point, like, yeah, obviously don't eat anybody, or babies especially, and especially don't like kill mommies so you can rip the babies out of their hands and eat them because they have the tenderest little flesh. But
oh god,
in terms of
gotta cook
like,
dinner after this.
I hope it's delicious. In terms of survival and the people in the town, what they had to do to survive, it is obviously awful. But the point where it becomes like, yeah, I'm prepared to damn the whole train, is when you realize that those sacrifices that you made in the past for humanity to continue living are not sacrifices that exist solely in the past. It's a sacrifice you have to continue to make as you bring fresh, new, malnourished 5-year-olds to the front of the train to work down in the gears. Like, that to me is the point where it's like, whatever is in the past previous to that moment, awful, can't explain it or apologize for it or whatever, but there's room to go forward. When you realize that you have to continue the sacrifice, to me is when it goes, that's not worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so dark, having kids that actually run the train. It's like, so that's why kids go missing on the trains, because we got to use them to like their tiny little hands to
like pull
clean out gunk out,
holes.
and then they just die eventually, and then they got to get replaced. It's so crazy.
It's so crazy. And then it's also just so depressing. Like this is the entire movie. Curtis is receiving these weird little bullets with little red pieces of paper in them with like hints, on what to do. And it's all fucking by design. It's by design from Wilford, beautifully played by Ed Harris, by the way. Oh man. But like, it's all him. He is the puppet master. And he's the puppet master with Gilliam, aka John Hurt, in the back. And it's just, oh my god.
Like Chris Evans is like
his
mentor, his like whole person he like looks up to.
Also ate his arm. Also ate part of his mentor.
He ate
and
him.
willingly
he nibbled on him a little bit.
Yeah. willingly given instead of eating
and
a baby.
leg, we can assume, unless the leg went some other way, but he is missing an arm and a leg.
I can't imagine John Hurt being very delicious. That's stringy. That is some stringy meat.
How dare you say that about
I'm
John
just
Hurt?
saying he's lovely,
People
but
love
he
jerky.
smoked his whole life. You can hear it in his voice. He probably just tasted like mesquite wood.
People
like
love
a nice
barbecue.
smoke
I love
flavoring,
mesquite.
okay?
Yeah, mesquite's really in right now. But I think I agree with you, Christian, about like the humans aren't worth saving. It's because they've tried so hard to save humanity by creating this like enclosed ecosystem that like feeds itself literally. That like they lost the essence of humanity.
And they had also previously tried to
Saving
save the world,
humanity.
like the global warming going on in the world by cooling the world,
CW
firing
series.
stuff, into the atmosphere. Like humans are just fucking it up at every single turn.
Can we talk about that?
Classic.
I was like,
Green-lighted
of
that plan.
It's
Yeah.
so fucking funny to me that they're like, of course, like we finally had to do something about global warming, finally, because it's like doomsday, baby, and we just fuck it royal and freeze the earth. We go the complete opposite direction.
But like we do shit like that in the world. Like I remember for the Beijing Olympics, because the smog was so bad, they were like firing stuff into the clouds to try and help make things
it rain.
disperse or make it rain or like ease off the smog for the Olympics, so that like people visiting would get a better impression of like how the environment was in Beijing. Like we do crazy shit like that. Like it's only a
Just
matter
some
of
cute
time
set
until
dressing.
someone does something like that.
Yeah, I did love how they revealed
So
it
funny
all
and depressing.
in an audio overlay as they're like panning around. It was very 13 Ghosts. A through line to 13 Ghosts, a clear reference.
A clear reference.
And to a clear reference to Matthew Lillard as well, of course.
As
Of course,
all
of
things
course.
are. Yeah.
The spirit is
Yeah.
with us always.
Yeah.
But they
What if
literally
you got
showed
him
the
on the podcast?
chemtrails.
What would happen if you got him on the podcast?
We would.
That is the ultimate
cry.
goal, but
Does
lie
he
down
know
the
that you
ground.
guys exist? Do you tag him in everything?
No.
we tag him in everything we do.
If
but
I
he's
ever
not-
meet
very
him,
busy.
if I ever meet him, I will have to tell him about this podcast.
please,
Okay,
but
but if
make
we
it
ever
seem
meet him,
like
we'll tell him you said hi.
Okay,
Yeah.
please do.
my therapist met
Big
him,
fan.
and I'm so jealous. But
You
when
shouldn't have that information. That your therapist is not supposed to divulge information
well,
like that.
I
Hey,
was telling
therapists
her
can
about the
disclose for reasons.
podcast. I was
Okay, fair
telling
enough.
her about the segment on the podcast, and she was like, "Oh, I met him one time, and he was really nice." And I was like, "What? Tell me everything." But if you do meet him, please, tell him that we're very chill and very cool, and that it's
So
Very
chill.
chill.
Very
Yeah.
chill, super chill. Got it.
you
Got
got it. I know you know.
We
it.
Mhm.
would not make it weird at all. Make that clear.
Yeah.
I think you already
I
have. Oh.
No. You mean we have made it clear that we would not be weird? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Yeah.
Fine. I can surprisingly be chill in front of people that I have talked about for hours at length, recorded on the internet. So I could do
Great.
it. We could all
Sure.
do it.
Yeah. They're
We're being
okay.
so normal to you, aren't we?
So normal. So normal.
Yeah.
I believe him
See?
when he says that. So
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Nobody has him on gunpoint
He's
over
Canadian.
here.
Why would he lie
no.
to us?
No one has me on gunpoint. I just did a move that nobody listening to the podcast will see or understand.
We do that literally all the time. It's fine.
Yeah.
And maybe
Great.
we pull clips for social, so maybe that could be.
Well, there you go.
I don't know
We'll
that
pull
it will be, but it might be.
No, it's not
It
worth
might
it.
be.
It's
I
not.
thought it was pretty funny. So we'll think about it.
That's a no. In this business, that means no. We'll call you, as they say.
Okay,
You know
I'm
what?
gonna
as someone who always puts in visual bits into the pod that no one ever sees, I respect it, and I will do my best as the person who chooses the
Oh my
video to
God.
choose that. So there
Okay.
you go.
Monica
Okay.
dresses on theme almost every week.
I
Yes.
literally brought, just in case, a fur coat to have next to me in case I needed it as a prop, because there's so many fur coats in this movie.
I could use that right now because the heat isn't really working in my apartment, and it is winter in Montreal right now. It is very cold in here.
Oh my
You are
God, you're
suffering.
really
Please
you're
send me your
committing
fur
too
coat.
much to the film. You're experiencing
I really feel it.
live.
Yeah, I'm really experiencing
Dedicated.
it. I went to the Arctic so I could talk on this podcast about my
I
experiences.
knew that's why you did that movie.
That's
but
why
now
I
on
did
really
it.
planning ahead.
But
Yeah.
I want to know, are you dedicated enough to live off a diet of bug jelly?
I really want to try it. I really want
I
to
would
try
try
one of
it.
those bars.
Tilda Swinton apparently
it's
liked
it. Yeah, it looks like it's just like it's probably got some sugar and gelatin in it. It like I
was
think
on
the prop
IMDb trivia.
tasted good. Yeah, I bet the prop
that
tasted
nice-
good, but I wonder like on the train, like did they add some sugar or some sweetener to it to try and cover up the bug taste? That's like you can buy protein powder these days made from crickets. Like this is a thing that people buy.
Well, here's the thing.
That you can like drink a protein shake. This is me shaking your protein thing, by the way, not something else. But you know, people drink that shit
I have
because
eaten
it's a
many
good source of
bugs.
protein.
I've eaten a lot of bugs when
Humble
given
brag.
Okay, well, all right. You've eaten a lot of bugs too when you're asleep, but I've chosen to.
Oh God! Don't tell me this. Don't tell me that.
You know
Wait,
the
wait, what do they
statistic
taste like
about
though,
the
Monica?
spiders. Okay, well, it's not like it's like you taste it and you're like that's a bug, you know. It just tastes like usually whatever it's seasoned with. It's like
Yeah, like
not-
barbecue
Put a little Old Bay on there.
seasoning or something.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I've had
salty,
a few
like when I
crickets.
had- yeah, they're good.
They're
I had
fried.
one.
They disappear in your mouth. They turn into dust. You crunch them.
Crunchy.
Yeah.
Crunch 'em
We used to
up.
make mealworm cookies at school every year.
What? What school
Yeah.
did you go to and why?
I'm from the South, so
Okay.
you know.
Are mealworms a thing in the South that people eat? Like this is out of
Um,
necessity?
They
We
would
have grocery
always-
stores.
The school would kind of do it to be like, look, you can eat bugs and you can buy mealworms and like grind them up and mix them in with your flour and make like a nice like protein chocolate chip cookie.
I'd try it.
And so it was like 5th
I'd
grade.
try
We
it.
all made
I'd try
mealworm
it.
Try
And they-
it. Come
it
on,
Yeah,
if you
I'd
ate a
try it.
just
cricket.
I would-
tastes
okay.
like a chocolate chip cookie.
Wow.
But
Okay,
do we-
so protein sledge confirmed tastes like chocolate chip cookies. What are they complaining about?
Yeah, it's
Seriously.
fine.
It looks good. It looks like Jello.
It looks like a fruit leather.
Yeah.
and it's
Thick.
and it's made by that nice guy Paul, who seems a little wild,
Sweet
but
Paul.
we like him. Sweet Paul.
Sweet Paul.
They
He's
weren't
got-
getting enough fruits or veggies though, I think.
No,
So it was
they're
just
probably
all
they all have
protein.
scurvy for sure.
So like
Mm,
maybe
A
that's
lot
why
of
Chris
scurvy.
Evans was so
Yeah.
upset.
Do you
was
take
just
a
like,
lot of
"Oh,
dumps with that
protein."
stuff? Like, will that like what are the latrine situations like in the tail?
yeah, we don't see bathrooms.
No potty.
See,
No.
They must
just,
dive
like-
into that in the show, right?
Where are the potties in the show?
Where the bodies on the show.
Trying to think if I have any scenes on the can. No, but I should
I'm
have.
shocked to hear that.
I
Well, text
should
him right
have.
now. Text Graham. Hey,
I
where
will.
are the potties?
Yeah, I'd be like,
Bestie, where are the potties?
yeah,
on
I
the
can't
show?
remember.
potties.
Y'all take dumps on the train?
It's
They would just
important to
jettison it out.
know.
They would just
Do
shoot
they
it out
use-
into the snow, I'm guessing. Or do
they
they have to
probably use
reuse
it for fuel or something.
earth like to grow vegetables in?
Oh,
Everything
yeah,
gets
they
recycled,
probably
right?
Do. Yeah, because I was thinking, okay, my first thought was, do they open up the little shaft where they put your arm also to later chop it off and you just shoot it out?
I think you put your
Hole
butt
be
against
so
that hole.
Vulnerable.
butt
Just
against
put
the
your
hole,
butt
yeah.
against it and then just shoot it out.
It takes
Yeah.
7 minutes for Andy's arm to freeze solid that they can smash it with a hammer, just like in Jason X. But it takes
Oh.
7 minutes. I just think if you are having a tough poo, which I imagine you probably would if you're only
Oh, on
eating
those
cricket
bars?
sludge.
Yeah, I guess
That's
so.
not. There's no way that's the solution because
Your
your
butt will
butthole, you
freeze
lose
off.
it.
Yeah.
Because your butthole
There's not
does.
enough
You need
fiber
That's a
that.
good
in
point.
those bars. Everybody's
Um,
constipated.
everything
And they
sh-
need the people
or
in
it's
the
shooting
tail
it
end
out.
for balance.
Yeah. Diarrhea or constipation. No,
Yeah,
in
there's no-
between
there's
on
no-
that train.
Yeah, there's no perfect dumps on that.
I'm so
on
glad
that
we're
tail
diving
section.
into this. It's
It's
really
so
Sometimes
important.
that's
But these are the practical
important.
things. These are the practical things that we need to cover.
I
This is a
also-
horror movie. And we needed to really underlie just how horrifying it is.
Mm-hmm.
We're
And
giving
They
I-
must
people
smell
what they
so
want.
bad. Yeah.
I was
Poop-
honestly
poop talk.
happy when I saw that it was cockroaches that they were turning into the
Yes.
sludge, because I misremembered this movie and The Matrix and thought it was like dead people guts or whatever, like whatever you
Right.
find out in The Matrix.
Or that classic
Um,
horror film Soylent Green, where it
Yep.
turns out everybody's eating other people. You're just making Soylent Green as people. Also, they have a food source that you can buy on the internet called Soylent. That's like a protein
Right?
mix.
Why would they
I don't
do
know
that?
why
No.
they called it that.
They
Like,
said,
I had
did you
had
want to
that.
cosplay?
you have it? Of
No, I
course you
haven't.
have it.
No, I
Of
didn't buy
course
it.
you
Okay,
have it.
Christian, you think I'm a psychopath, but I went to this really weird
words.
music festival. Fuck. Making a
Cracker.
great impression. I went to this weird music festival that was like very pretentious in Arcosanti, Arizona, and you had to like apply like and talk about who you are to get in. Anyway, I knew
Oh
someone who
my
was
god.
I knew someone
That's
and they
some
got
LA
me, and that's
shit.
the only reason I made it. But it was like one of the sponsors was Soylent, this company, and so they just gave it to you every day, and we had
Was
some
that
of
the
it, and
only food you could get at the
and that
festival with
that's
Soylent?
all you could live off of. No, they had
Yeah.
other food. They
It's
had to
made
make
from
a
people.
profit. Well,
Definitely
it
made from
wasn't that
people.
good. Sorry, Soylent. Damn, lost another sponsor.
Wow. Sabotaging our own potential future advertisers.
I'd rather eat a cricket than have that again. So there you go.
That's fair.
Okay, wait. I'm bringing it back to the end because I actually didn't make the point that I was trying to make before you guys got really off topic talking about how things are sad. I choose to believe that there, first of all, obviously there's, as discussed, a lot of areas of the train that we didn't see, maybe on a mysterious second level. I don't know. And we're just getting some weird perspective shots that make it look like it's not that tall. But there's got to be beds somewhere. There's got to be livestock somewhere. Because we saw like chickens hanging up, and we saw like
some big sides of beef.
Like a
very
butcher
fake looking
car,
sides of beef.
basically.
Yeah,
that came from somewhere. There's a cow somewhere on this train.
Yeah, there's they get into that in the TV show. Actually, there is a cattle car that you see at one point. Cattle car.
But maybe some of those animals survived. First of all, distraction for the polar bear. Second of all, a food source for the people. So I choose to believe that there's a lot of potential. Bong Joon Ho said his quote was, actually it's not in this quote, but basically he said that there are possible survivors other than those two that just wasn't within the scope of what the camera was going to show you and what was going to go in the movie. But as the director, and again, I mean, the art is the canon, so like you can believe whatever you want if you want to be sad, Christian. But I choose to claim
I'm just matching Monica's opinion on things. That's all.
Well,
I'm going with Monica's
either.
pessimism.
You guys can go do your own thing, and I'll be over here. He said there's space for a lot more survivors, and I choose to believe that there are cows now in the world, and also the
just
girl
like
at the end.
Arctic cows.
Are there fur coats for the fucking cows?
There are cows that are furry, and you would
what
know
is
that if you
the
knew about cows.
likelihood that the cows that they had in Chicago are a Highland coo or a Highland cow?
Like a Scottish cow with all that.
They could have started somewhere with furry cow. I don't know.
It's not the Ark. They don't have like two of every animal.
Yeah,
we know that's a woman.
The Ark from your Bible.
It's not my Bible. Anyway, the main person who was leading the 7-person revolt where they went out into the snow, she was Inuit. She was one of the cleaning ladies. The dad Nam said that she taught him everything about like snow and survival out in the snow and stuff. And this was not in the movie. But the filmmakers, per IMDb trivia at least, say that she is the mom of Yona. So I think there's a good chance that there was a lot of like cultural survival heritage passed down. And
sort of like the polar bear wanting to eat humans the first time it sees them.
No, that's different because polar bears
that's
talk.
No, but that's like passed down. That's like, nature versus nurture.
That's in their blood to kill.
Yeah.
I still love polar bears.
They're so cute, but dangerous.
Can't hug them.
These two populations have lived not necessarily in harmony, but on the same planet within the same geographical spaces before, and they may again. And I think that her mom went out into the snow. It was too cold then, but as the dad tells us, the snow is melting. We can see more and more of that crashed plane. I think the cultural knowledge might get her somewhere and the other survivors somewhere this time around. I choose to believe, because otherwise it's just a very sad movie and then I'm very sad.
And they have fur coats.
Yeah, they've got boots.
And they have boots with the fur.
boots
How
with
is
the
that
fur.
fur coat? That
If only
fur
there was
coat
a
is
club
way
looking at her.
pathetic.
There is a club looking
There
at
was a
her.
club
Did you
car,
see
but
the
that
race
went down
scene?
into the chasm. That
The
that
club
probably like went
car.
down to the chasm.
Well,
And
they
that had two
deserved
floors
it.
on it. There was a staircase there, and they had a second, like
yeah.
an upper deck.
Okay,
They were
biggest
mean in that
twist
car.
They were mean.
of the whole movie for me is when the cool club car, all the cool party people, they
Are
turned. They
haters?
did a 180 and they turned into murderers.
What
Yeah,
drugs
why
were
would
they
you do
doing?
that?
That seems
They
like
were doing
club
that
kids,
weird
though.
drug. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's true.
Maybe.
Club
Maybe
kids
that's
are
what it
vicious.
was.
Right? Like I would not. Club kids would throw hands. That checks out for me.
I just
And I feel
love
like you could easily rally a whole car of drunk people to be like, get them! And then everyone would be like, yeah!
fair,
They
fair,
stole
fair.
our drugs. They stole our fur.
I liked the disco den. I loved the disco cart. I loved that there was a disco car. I also just love the aesthetic choices that they chose for like the fashion for everyone in the front, like the weird hairstyles, and it's like I don't even know what era that
That's
is.
the Euphoria car.
They all went to Euphoria
Yes.
High School.
Definitely.
You move past the club car and you go right into the conversation pit car, which I really love.
Yeah.
The drug den
Also
car.
a drug
Yeah.
den, but my first thought was conversation pits. I love conversation
Wow, the 70s influence is
I really
so
like-
clear.
Yeah, I like how Wilford makes his utopian train, but he makes right at the front of the train, right before you get to the engine, just a drug den, like an
He's really
opium
trying
den
to
from like the Victorian
distract
era.
anyone who might make it that far. He said, "You
Right.
made it this far, but have you considered doing drugs?"
Drugs.
And I bet that got a lot of people.
Mhm.
Yeah, nobody was going past the drug den.
There's
Maybe that's
alcohol
his,
and
like,
music in here,
private army.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated because Wilford like thought of everything. He's created a religion based around him and a series of fun informational videos, many
Oh my
songs
God.
that I would like to know the lyrics to. Like
Mhm.
you're so right. Alison Pill is just so funny in that. That's one of the best scenes. It's like
And then
such
she gets
tone shift.
a gun. She starts shooting, blasting people. Just
Right?
like
Cute little
bam.
pregnant belly.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Where they
Yeah.
pass out
Eggs.
a carton full of eggs.
And then
That
they're just like
scene was
psych.
disturbing
brap,
to me.
brap, brap.
Okay, the
Crazy.
egg thing was the best part. The egg. I love that the egg man looked like an egg himself.
Yes!
I love a theme, and that was really cool for me.
Yeah.
But like he thought through everything. He's created this whole ideology, blah 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 blah. He's brainwashed everyone, but he didn't notice that the drugs that everyone is addicted to is an explosive.
I guess he did realize, but he was just like, but they're gonna do the drugs, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're not gonna not do the drugs. They're
Yeah, but I wouldn't trust people that drugged out with a bunch of explosives,
Same. They're
especially if they were like, I better have a cigarette. Oh, wait, there's no cigarettes.
They're
That's
extinct
true.
low.
Okay.
fair.
They
Fair.
have like 2 matches in the entire course of the movie, but I do wonder if there are other fire sources. Like clearly there's
gotta cook
electricity, you know what I
stuff.
mean? There's
Yeah.
stuff going on.
Yeah, it just seems like a little bit of a hole in the master plan there, Wilford, to let everybody have this kryptonite, whatever. Well, I don't remember what it's called. It's called kryptonite to me.
Chronal.
Chronal.
Chronal, okay.
Yeah, chronal.
Chronal. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cooler. That's cooler.
just
And
love
it's just
that,
like, if they just
It's like
smoosh
cornhole,
it together,
but-
it's over.
but
I love
worse.
cornhole.
Chronal's
I
so fun.
love that
Mhm.
when we see the matches, he has like 2 cigarettes left, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, cigarettes went extinct!" But they're Marlboro Lights. Of all the
They
cigarettes,
call
Oh,
it out.
the
That's
worst
the product
cigarettes.
placement in the
the
movie,
worst
maybe?
cigarettes. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go out, the last 2 cigarettes on Earth should be a Marlboro Red. Like,
No,
God
American
intended.
Spirit. American Spirit yellows, please.
Wait,
Okay, now
what if-
that's
you're gonna
These
go
are
with
not-
American
hipster LA
Spirits?
shit.
Yeah.
That's some hipster LA shit.
Wait,
Kristen.
what if it
Listen,
was
Wow,
I-
you're calling us little influencers.
I was smoking those. I quit 10 years ago. So I was smoking those before I went to LA. Please. I was on those American Spirits back in the. First of all,
Been
any
had
kids
been
listening,
there.
don't smoke. Don't smoke,
Don't
kids.
smoke, you guys. It's not cool. There's like a smoking resurgence of people being like, Smoking looks so cool. I want to. Have you guys seen
Is
this on
it
the internet this
because-
week?
No. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
No. Did you?
Oh,
Is it
here we go.
because Gen Z found out about Camel Crushes? Because what if the final cigarette was a
God.
Camel Crush?
I used
Oh,
to
I do
love
want to try
Camel
one of
Crushes.
those. I've never
I
had
can
one of those.
contribute
They're
to the
awesome.
cigarette
They're not. They're
conversation,
bad.
you
They're
guys.
bad.
They're bad, but they're
awesome.
awesome.
They're
I'm
so
the
awesome.
good girl, so let's move on.
That's the one where you like crush the filter and it's like
And then it'll
menthol or
turn
And
whatever.
it's menthol after that, yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
apparently, little pieces of glass go into your lungs, which is fun. I don't know if that's
I
true,
believe
but
it.
someone
Well, it's
told me that.
fiberglass. I think it's fiberglass. Like the
fiberglass.
You
filters
should
have
not
fiberglass.
inhale
in
that. That's bad
No.
for you, Christian.
Well, I haven't in several
I don't.
years.
I
No,
haven't.
he
Chelsea,
hasn't
I
had
haven't.
one.
It's been 10
I've
years since
had
I've had a
one.
cigarette.
Mm.
It's been over 10 years.
Chris, okay, there's so much that happens in this movie. What else do we want to talk about?
I
mean,
want to talk about
Octavia.
the fact that somebody gets a shoe thrown at them. I liked that.
I love just Spud from Train Spotting having a shoe on his balancing on his head. I love that. Just he's so good at being goofy, and he's quite cartoonish in this film.
Yeah,
And so is Tilda.
The
when she
shoe
gets
becomes
shoe
a
on her
theme.
head,
Oh,
too.
totally. It just becomes such a great theme, being under someone's shoe.
yeah.
I mean, like that's
Being like, we're the shoe, you're the shoe, we're the head. Shoes
Mhm.
don't go on heads, you stupid little bitch. Like,
Shoes don't
that's
go
what
on
she says,
heads.
essentially. She says, I am a hat, you are a shoe, I belong on the head, you belong on the foot. Yes, so it is. That's the quote.
I think next season on
Yeah.
Euphoria, they should wear shoes on heads. That's like the evolution of the wardrobe on that show.
Okay,
If Sydney
HBO.
Sweeney does
Get
it,
on
I'll
it.
do it too. So
I know.
also just want to put a little shine on Gray, the character, by far the sexiest person in the film for me.
Oh, that's Luke Pasqualino?
Yeah, the mysterious,
Wait, which one's Gray?
He's the mysterious guy who's really fast at running and throwing knives.
Oh
and he
yeah,
has
and
he
he's
was
tattoos
awesome.
that say "die" or "surrender." Hot.
For
Hot.
the for that one revolution when he needs to use it.
Right?
He said, I'm ready whenever you guys are. I'll just
Yeah.
be waiting.
Put me in, coach.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, maybe he, did something that had to do with that before, the ice turned into a solid, the world turned into a solid block of ice. Maybe that
And
was like
he got that
part of his
nasty Saving Private Ryan death, which is another movie that I watched
Oh.
recently, where
Oh, that's a
where he
great
gets like the
movie.
slow knife into the heart, just like that one guy. There's a
Mm.
fight scene where that happens. It's stuck with me still to this day, and that's like a 20-year-old film, but that's just always the worst death. The slow knife to the heart while the guy's like watching the other person press it in. Oh, brutal, just
yeah.
brutal.
something about like the slowness of it, and you can like
Mhm.
you don't see the piercing of the skin as much in this, but I've seen some other deaths recently with that, and it triggers my
In film or in real
needlephobia.
life?
That's not your business.
In film.
Okay,
in
that's true.
film,
That's true.
In
Good point.
film, in film, in film, in film.
Okay.
On the record, it was in film. But there's something about that triggers my needle phobia. I feel like the slow piercing of a skin, I just can't do it. I watch a horror
Mhm.
movie every day. I watch people's heads get chopped off, their heads explode. I don't bat an eye. A needle goes into skin. I'm like, oh, I can't do it.
For me, it's
can't go
shaving on screen. When I see someone
Ooh.
shaving, I'm like, no, because it's on there for a reason. Like they're gonna do something with it, even if they just nick themselves and they're bleeding a little bit. Ugh. Like Dracula, that scene when Jonathan Harker, Keanu Reeves, is like shaving himself and he cuts himself, and Dracula comes over and like takes the razor and like turns his head and licks it. Ugh. There's a lot of blood on that blade.
Not-
It's very sexy though. It's very
Yeah,
sexy
that's
when
those were the vibes
weird
I
old
got.
Gary Oldman does it for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys, this is Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one with
Yes.
Winona and Keanu that I
Oh,
This
yeah.
is
watched.
the one you
and
watch and you're like, we have to do it. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I'm
so
doing this
good.
right now.
It's batshit and amazing. I just
Okay.
read the
How have
book.
you not done this one yet? It's so
We've only
good.
there's so many movies. Is the thing.
Okay, fair point. I'm sorry.
It's on the list though. Monica has made sure that it is on the list.
We have
It's
more important
really
movies
a
to do, like
special one.
47 meters
Mhm.
down Uncaged. You really have to start with the prestige films, like 47 meters down Uncaged.
Absolutely, I understand.
We had to give Sistine Stallone her time. Okay.
Before she was on Yellow Jackets, which is now a phenomenon. Yeah.
I just
Oh,
started it
she's
last
on that?
night. I just watched the first episode.
It's
Oh my
so
God,
good.
It's so good.
It's
I have
so
to get
good.
a
I love it.
Showtime
Sistine
subscription or
Stallone,
something.
47 meters down uncaged to Yellow Jackets pipeline.
Oh my God, am I going to have to eat my words? I made a lot of fun of her. I'm so sorry, Sistine.
You're going to love her in Yellow Jackets, and you're going to feel terrible, and you're going to write a formal apology.
Okay, I'm prepared to do that. I've been wrong before.
Chelsea, it just sounds like you're giving Monica orders here.
As it should be.
She is.
Okay.
Well, Kristian, I appreciate that you tag teamed with me against Chelsea to tell her that things actually are sad.
No, they're
sometimes
not.
I need that report.
This
that
is
support.
dystopian. Yeah, this is a dystopian
This is
end of the world film. There's not a lot of hope in it.
And also just like based on some of the other movies I've seen that Bong has done, like he's not trying to give you hope in the end a lot of the time, like a little bit, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. And what he says in interviews, you can't believe because he loves to lie.
That's true. He does love to lie. No.
He's a beautiful liar.
Oh, he's so good at it.
He's
I love
so
it.
good at it. He can lie to me any day.
Wow.
Any day.
Okay. What other things should we discuss here?
Oh, okay. Which one of the carts was your favorite cart?
Okay, here's a quick review. I wrote down 17. I might have missed some. But what we saw from tail to front is the tail. There's a quarantine area we kind of skip past. There's the prisons. There's another car, which is the one where they have windows and a little more space for their beds.
Is that the barracks? That's the barracks for the jackboots. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Okay. And then we get the water car, the garden car, the aquarium car, the school car. There's a bunch of cars with like a tailor in it and a salon in it. And then there's a pool car. Yeah. Then there's the sauna car, the one that's all yellow.
That was such a beautiful
gorgeous
scene.
Terrifying. Really, actually, I said gorgeous, but I was lying. It was really unsettling.
Very scary.
And then after that, rave car, drug den car, engineer car, engine, Wilford's car.
Well, first of all, on the TV show, you get so many more cars, which I really enjoy. You really get to spend time in, like, there's just so many people, so many extras, so many background. And like, it's so cool in the studio when you walk through, this is a sidebar, but you walk through sections of train all lined up next to each other in the studio, like just chunks of train that are like 4 cars long next to another chunk of 4 cars long, like a whole set, a whole studio filled with them. And then you go through massive doors to like other ones, and then you get to like the front and you can actually like look in the window of the front of the train. It's so fucking sick. Cool. It was exciting. It was so cool.
That's way cooler than Travel Town, which is a train museum near my house.
Travel Town's very cool though.
Okay, it's cool. It is really cool, but that sounds slightly cooler. So
it's a pretty cool experience, especially after having watched 2 seasons of the show, to like walk onto the set and be like, oh my God, this is like, it's like going to Harry Potter world, you know, after you've watched the first 3 films and you're cast in the 4th or something. I don't know. But this one had some really great cars. This one had the design is very similar to the TV show. Like, I feel like either that's coming from the graphic novel. The plant room was great. The garden,
super similar.
Is that
on the first episode?
Monica, yesterday when we were preparing in advance of this episode, I hadn't watched the movie yet. I watched it earlier today.
The orange room.
But you said the orange room is your favorite. That's the garden car that you meant?
Or I didn't say the orange room was my favorite. Sav.
Me?
Sav. Who's Sav?
Sav. That's our other friend. Sydney, you liked the orange car? Is that which one is that you mean?
I think it's the garden one, but like when you first see it, it has
just oranges,
orange trees, and I was just like, "Fuck yeah, that's."
And
what
then
I
there's
wanna
someone
be.
like knitting there. That's you.
Yes, that would be me. I would be the nice lady sitting there, like
who doesn't say a word as like the revolutionaries come through, just like.
But I guess this is like their 4th revolution in 17 years, so they're just like, whatever. Frankly, like this might as well happen today.
Mm-hmm. I did like the sauna car.
Oh,
I love a good sauna, but that's part of my heritage. I have to. My people invented that shit. So
oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you.
I mean,
you're welcome. On behalf of the Scandinavians. Yeah. Except for the murder that happens in the sauna car. That part. Well, also, they didn't design it well because there's steam leaking everywhere. You're supposed to keep that in each room. So someone needs to do some repairs in that car.
Well, there's a lot of bullets flying on this train. I mean, clearly things are getting damaged, you know. And I really thought that was going to be more of a plot point when they're at that point in the movie where they're going around the bend and they're firing at each other from the opposite points of the train. They're making all these bullet holes in the window.
Yeah, that was a stretch.
The cold is gonna get in and we're all gonna freeze. But also things went off the rails before it could happen. So
he had an Uzi. One of them had an Uzi, which has like no, I'm no weapons expert, but I know a few things. And like there's no aim. Those things are just going wild. And he's like shooting through the glass to like get across there's no way that would happen with an Uzi.
And it was like right here and then right here for both of them. So the precision of it.
Yeah, that was I love some little drama there.
A little drama.
No reason.
That guy was so creepy and weird.
Franco the Elder is apparently
Is that his name? The gray guy, the guy in gray?
Ivanov, but his name in the movie.
He does not look like a Vlad. He looks like a Bert.
A Bert.
He looks like a Bert. I thought he was just some like American dude. Like he's not like your stereotypical bad guy henchman. And yet he does such a good job in the film of being a bad guy henchman. But you're like, you're not really that threatening. You're kind of like a balding, derpy dude. And he's so good at being sinister at the same time. I thought he was great.
Die.
No, man. Oh, he just keeps coming back.
You want to know something that's really funny? So that guy is Franco the Elder. The other guy with like the black swoopy hair, who's his pal, is Franco the Younger.
Cute.
No way.
Twinsies.
Now, is that father and son? Is that like senior and junior, or are they just both Francos?
Two brothers.
Named Franco? They both have the same name?
Who's that guy? George Foreman. You have heard of his children.
They're all named George.
Okay.
Some people do that.
I don't know. I feel like it could be a father-son kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, do you think those guys had a normal father?
Does anybody on that train?
Does anybody in general?
Yeah, good point. Good point, Sid. Good point.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. We were talking about our favorite train cars. Yours was the Sauna car. Chelsea, what was your favorite car?
I don't want to say the aquarium because like the realities and logistics of the aquarium I found very confusing within the scope of the movie unless we do our whole thing, like I said earlier, where it's like, well, clearly the train is taller than it seems and there's a lot more going on than it seems, because the aquarium room, the ceilings in there were so much higher than they were in any other car, and also presumably they have to be even higher still for there to be room to have the aquarium. But other than that, it was so beautiful, and I did like that it attached to the sushi car, although actually that is a little grim in its own way. Like
the fish
I don't know
can like watch
that's
propped up, but you go to some sushi restaurants and they'll have like live fish and aquariums and stuff like that.
Sometimes I think if you're gonna eat meat or fish or whatever, you should acknowledge that those were animals, but that aside, anyway, I'm gonna move on.
The aquarium, I'll say mine, and mine is the aquarium. Okay. No
that's no surprise, Monica. No, that's no surprise. You sleep in aquariums.
Childhood. Yeah. And also sushi is my favorite food, so like there's nothing better than that. I would just be best friends with that sushi guy. It would be wonderful. A great life.
They only have it twice a year in January and July.
That's right.
The rest of the time.
That's right. And well, they got to grow more fish.
Yeah, they have to like sustain the population or something.
Balance, etc.
I don't know if I'd want to, live if I could only eat sushi twice a year. Like, what's the point?
That's my breaking point.
I'll just freeze to death before the train even leaves the station, frankly.
You wouldn't make it onto the train. Like, we wouldn't have been selected to be on the train for one. Certainly not. And I don't know if I'm scrappy enough to fight onto the tail. I might be scruffy enough, but I'm not scruffy.
You're living for 17 years on the back of that train, you're going to be scruffy.
Yeah, you become scruffy after you're scrappy. It's one and then the other.
First, and that's the thing. I'm scruffy first and scrappy second, and that's why I won't make it.
I think I'm scrappy in like a one-on-one scenario, but not in like a pushing other people out of the way scenario. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I think once it came to chasing down mommies to pull babies out of their arms. I think probably that would also be beyond the scope of what I'm not in like an I'm such a good person way, but in like a I don't think I would fight for my life in that kind of way.
Yeah.
I think I could get onto the train, but
Sydney, I
think
feel like
I
could
would
absolutely chase somebody
but
down.
I think I would thrive, quite frankly.
I believe you wholeheartedly.
I mean, the crazy thing is for 17, 18 years, nobody in the tail has seen water. Like they get all their moisture from these freaking protein packs. Like they must smell so bad. They haven't showered. Remember when they're like, oh, there's water, take a shower. And like, they're all like, oh, wash the blood off. They haven't had a shower. Some of those people were born in a world. He's got a British accent. He's like an old, like smoking, like.
Don't question him. That is beautiful.
He's awesome. I love John Hurt so much. He is incredible. Rest in peace, King. You're wonderful. But it would have smelled so bad back there. If I was a tailie, I probably would have made it a couple of years and then be like, just eat me. This smells so bad. Just eat me.
I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm ready to go.
I'm eating these like gelatin pucks. I gotta, please, someone kill me. We're dumping in buckets in the back. It's filling up.
Yeah. If you volunteered yourself, I think like we could all.
But they didn't have like, it didn't look like they had a flame. Like they got to eat those bodies raw.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like they don't have like a kitchen back there. It's just a storage car originally, I think, that they just kind of got pushed into.
Tartar.
And the baby is the softest. Love a baby tartar.
That little tidbit, I was like, no, but that makes sense because veal.
Because veal, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
that monologue is great though, from Chris
Evans.
The
whole thing down, yeah.
It is,
and he's
insane.
Like, and he's crying, and you really buy it. He's so simple. He doesn't really do a lot of work. He just takes you through it, and it's horrific. It's such a great twist, and you understand why he's such a morose bastard the whole time. The whole film, you're like, man, fucking smile, like you're winning a revolution, like, but he's just so filled with shame,
and he's got two arms to fight with the whole time that remind him of how.
And of course, he's gonna have to sacrifice an arm. Of course, he's got to sacrifice. Of course,
like he always wanted.
He couldn't make out of the movie with two arms. That would have been unacceptable.
Yeah, unacceptable. I really appreciated the monologue, though, not just because a really well delivered monologue is fun to watch, and not just because it explained a lot of things that we only got like glimpses of before, but in watching the other actor, in watching Kang Ho Song like receive that monologue, I thought was the best part of it, because he opens the monologue by being and that communication device. I thought that was such a clever device within the movie to like let that actor continue to speak in Korean and not have to make anybody speak English just because it was for an English speaking audience,
and not feel the need to make it work all the time. So you're always constantly getting the translation. Like you just accept it that they were just
I liked that.
Just remind us every once in a while that it's still there. Grab
and
it,
how it
speak
works.
into it. Yeah.
Every now and then you get the echo. But I also watch everything with subtitles. So I would almost like literally forget that was happening at all. But he says when he gives Chris Evans the last cigarette, he says, "You should be grateful. That's the world's last cigarette, you tail section pig." And it's like, this guy has been helping him throughout ostensibly for payment, which we think is drugs that he can do, but it turns out it's so that he can explode the whole train.
Make a bomb.
But he doesn't like get it. He might have been in prison at the start of the movie, that character Nam and his daughter, presumably I would assume, because if his wife was the one who led that previous revolt, they probably just got like wrapped up in it to some degree. But he was like the security guy for the train. So like he wasn't a first class passenger, but he was of high enough status to
some sort of engineer.
Yeah, to be one of the people at the front of the train, to be one of those people who has no appreciation for what life is like in other parts of the train.
And a dangerous person to have alive, basically. And like you need to keep him alive so that if something goes wrong, that you can like wake him up and like put him to work. But you don't want that person with that knowledge to be wandering around the train talking to the wrong people.
No, totally.
But I thought it was so great in that scene that even though he had been essentially an ally for Chris Evans the whole time, they still had him like not get it until it was like, no, like you don't understand. Like, not only did we have to fight our way on, he says, it was chaos. Yeah, we didn't freeze to death, but we didn't have time to be thankful. Wilford's soldiers came and they took everything. It was 1,000 people in an iron box, no food, no water. After a month, we ate the week. And it's just like that long pause as Nam like digests that information and you see his face as he processes it. I thought that was one of the best parts of the movie.
Oh, totally. And he's such an incredible actor. Kang Ho Song. He is also a goddamn chameleon. I swear to God, he looks unrecognizable. Like in the host, compared to this with his little blonde hair and everything. But I thought another really awesome device in that moment was they'd made such a huge deal about the cigarettes, and Chris Evans is giving this monologue, and he lets it like burn all the way down.
Doesn't even smoke it.
Cigarette ever, and he just like is so taken by the confessing, what he's done.
Yeah,
it was very moving, but I did laugh. I'm sorry, I'm immature. I laughed when he was like, and I don't like that I know that babies taste the best, and I couldn't handle it.
But we all know that they
shocked.
do.
We knew.
Yeah.
Of course. It just makes sense. Oh, just how we know John Hurt wouldn't taste good. All right, so Snowpiercer, it's a 2-hour, 6-minute movie. Our episode can't be that long, so we got to move into our segments now. And we start with the best one, in my opinion, and that is, how could this movie be gayer? And I know that Sydney has a great theory about how it already is. So, Sydney,
right? You have Wilford and Gilliam.
Yeah, G. It's his last name, I think, but
their sexual tension between them that you don't even know exists. You could just like feel it being like palpable, and you're like, what is this? And then at the very end, when you find out that they're working together through late night phone calls,
that's sexy shit.
Secret lovers.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that all of the passengers in the train just have this strange feeling at all times because they're just being speared through by like the raw sexual energy and attraction from the front of the train to the back of the train?
For sure.
It must be uncomfortable to live through.
Definitely.
You could feel that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I
also think Tilda Swinton, I forget her character's name, Minister Mason or something like that, right? It's not Minister. What is it?
It's Mason.
It's just Mason.
It's Manager Mason. Though.
IMDb,
it's like
it just
it's
says
a title.
Mason.
Anyway, excuse me, I apologize. I shouldn't have used that pronoun because I think that character is potentially non-binary because they call Mason Sir at one point.
That's right.
And I didn't notice any other pronoun usage, but I noticed the Sir. And then on IMDb trivia, it said that role was like originally written with John C. Reilly in mind, which also iconic John C. Reilly. But when they adapted it for Tilda Swinton, it says
awesome.
Bong Joon Ho intentionally left lines of Mason being referred to in the masculine form in the script, which show up in the movie. So that's a he, him, non-binary icon to me.
Interesting, because I when I saw that in the film, I took that as like some old school forms of the military. Everybody just is called Sir because it was so patriarchal and hyper masculine back in the day. But even then, as like,
well, the military is pretty gay though, is the thing.
Yeah,
true, very true. So
sorry to interrupt. You
no. But I love that. I love that the director explained that so that you get like this kind of cool insider information about that, because that makes a lot more sense. Also, John C. Reilly would be amazing, but I do love Tilda Swinton. She's one of my favorite actors in the world.
John C. Reilly, it was going to be like a much quieter character. And then it became really like cartoonish and more over the top in Tilda's version. And I don't know if that was just Tilda bringing that to the character or if that was more of a collaborative effort. But
Well,
I
you
know
know
the
that John C.
glasses that Tilda
Reilly-
wears are Tilda's
Mhm.
glasses. So
Oh, love that. Well, John C.
Amazing. I love
Riley
that.
can bring anything to the table.
Yes, he
yeah, but I
can.
love when he does Cellophane Man, Quiet Energy.
Oh yeah. I
That's
mean,
true.
also that man can sing. Did you know that? He has the voice of an
yeah.
angel. I mean,
I've
he's
heard
known
Cellophane
Mr.
Man.
Cellophane, but I like have seen him perform live, and he's got this like amazing Americana-esque voice.
I could see him
And-
being a really good bluegrass singer for
Yeah.
some reason,
That's the
I
kind
bet
of
he's
performance
could
that
do
he did.
Yeah.
like wearing a little hat and a vest.
He was wearing
Cute.
a cowboy hat. He was wearing a cowboy hat, and he
I've
was
There you
seen
go.
him
very
roller
nice.
skate, and he was good at it.
I believe it. I mean, he had to in Boogie Nights, so
Mhm.
Yeah, damn.
Excellent film.
Renaissance man,
Mhm.
Renaissance
Okay.
man, truly.
How-
I think. Oh, I had a theory on how to make
Oh,
it gayer.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the jackboots, the military guys, they're all
Uh-huh.
men. There's no women involved, and I doubt there's much of a dating situation. And I
Sure.
doubt that the rich people like mix with like the gritty
Dabble.
soldiers who are like back towards the tails. So
They're
I
not
think
slumming
those
it.
dudes. I think those dudes got to gate up.
They've
they
got to
must.
kiss.
Oh,
They must kiss.
Have
Yeah,
to
they have
kiss.
no
They're
other
homies.
options. Like, yeah,
You got to kiss
That's
your
why
homies
there's
good
nice
night
the
at
mouth
least.
hole so they could kiss.
yeah, they've got that mouth hole. The unnecessary balaclava that they're wearing.
Just to look sick, you know.
To be
and it
spooky.
It does look
Spooky.
sick, though. It does
It
look
looks
sick. It is
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
No, that's a
That's
a
something
very
Yona's
fair
gay,
point.
but that's just projection. That's like I like
Yeah.
her, so why couldn't she be gay? You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm.
Yona is gay, and therefore Christian and I are right, and society ends at the end of the film.
She could be bisexual.
Yep,
She could be
yep,
bisexual.
yep.
Sometimes people say gay and they don't strictly mean lesbian.
Yeah. Backtracking, I see.
I told you there's more survivors.
Oh my god.
Some of
I
them
love
are
it.
of appropriate age to reproduce. Probably,
Yeah.
maybe if I get to decide, and I do.
We can't talk about this more because I'm gonna think about the realities of it, and it makes me very deeply disturbed.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other gay scenarios that you can imagine? I mean, it's a
I mean,
on a
certainly the
train,
club
so it's
kids, but the
gay.
club kids, I think, are already like getting in there.
Oh yeah.
Anything
Okay,
goes in a club.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I
All
don't
the
know-
ravers.
I don't know if this counts as a spoiler, and maybe I'm wrong, Christian, but in the
Mhm.
first episode of the show, I saw a polyamorous gay throuple thing happening. I think. for
Yes, a
second.
lot
Yes.
of sexuality
So
is
the
quite
show's queer.
open in the show. The show is definitely.
The
Well,
show
when all bets
wins
are off,
that.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Why not? Why not get a little crazy? Why not do whatever we want?
We had 2 hours and 6 minutes, and they could have made some of those minutes
not a single
explicitly gay.
smooch. Can you believe it?
I guess it wasn't romance. Damn, too
Can
bad.
I
Yeah.
mean, I felt like they had space with Chris Evans and Jamie Bell's characters until they get to the end where they go somehow Jamie Bell's only 18.
Right.
Which is not
Yeah,
representative of the actor's age. I googled that he was 27 in 2013. Obviously, they probably filmed it a little earlier, but I remember Jamie Bell from like 2011 being on the internet and doing Harry Potter role play, and people would put him as characters. So to me, he's much older than
Right.
18.
and
But
he literally is.
they really cut that at the knees right there.
And that would also be kind of creepy if Chris Evans was like, "I was going to eat him," and then we
I was
fell
gonna
in
eat
love when
this
when he
baby,
became
yeah.
old enough. Like,
And then
as
once
soon as he hit
hit
barely
age of
legal, then
consent,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Hey
if they
guy,
hadn't
I
done
killed
that,
your
if he
mom,
wasn't the
and I almost
baby-
ate you.
If he wasn't the baby, then I really think they could have had something, and it could have been
Totally.
beautiful.
The vibes were there, but then they were squashed. It's too
Then they
bad.
were squashed.
You know, Bong, he's amazing, but he missed that opportunity. It's too bad. It's too bad.
Could've
In
been
the
really
reboot
quirky.
in 2032.
Perfect. Okay, so then that brings us to the age-old question. Where would Matthew Lillard be in this film?
I think he would be a great Wilford.
I was
not
about to
just
say
because
Wilford.
He's a lovely eccentric, but also I could see him as a little boy having a vision that he wants to be on a train forever.
You just made him instantly creepier for some reason.
he's so good at that, you know what I mean? And I
That's
could
true.
see a small version of Matthew Lillard character in the role, in the not him as a
Character.
person. I
No,
would
God, no.
never
Of
speak
course,
to
of course.
who he is as a person.
Yeah.
We don't know him. But yeah. To me, him being like, I'm gonna make a train that goes round and round forever, and I get to be on it, and it's gonna be fun, and everybody's gonna have to stop laughing at me. I think he could pull that energy off perfectly.
If Matthew Willard, wow, can't even say his name.
I know what you're gonna say, and I love it.
Lillard. I said Matthew Wilford it by accident, but if Matthew Lillard was Wilford, there would have to be, you do not know what I'm going to say. And if you do, then I'm scared that we've spent too much time together. There would have to be a scene of him singing his own songs. The songs about his origin story. Like we need that unhinged energy. He could pull it off really, really well. Like there's no one who can do an unhinged monologue better. So we need that. They would need to add that in for him.
What I thought you were going to say was that Skeet Ulrich could be Gilliam.
Whoa.
For the remake.
A reprise.
The day of our
their
recording
Gay
this,
Lovis.
it is Skeet Ulrich's birthday. An
Oh,
Aquarius.
is it?
It is.
Oh my God, amazing.
Wow.
And this episode's going to come out the day after Matty Lilly's birthday, so
Whoa.
is the
Very
season.
It all comes back to Scream, baby.
It all comes back to Scream. But
And
we're
actually
getting ahead of
the directors of Ready or Not directed
know,
Scream, the
I
new
know.
Scream.
I know.
We're going to
Yeah.
talk about that in a minute, bestie.
Oh yeah. We
Okay,
have a
great,
lot of
okay.
questions. Okay, so that brings us to another important question, which is who's the dumb bitch in this movie? And maybe mankind itself is the
I
dumb
think that's a
bitch.
great answer.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
people
the
who
thing
thought
is,
they could
We
stop
just don't know when to
global
die.
warming by shooting, by cooling the earth. are the
By
Yeah.
dumb
shooting
bitches.
ice
That's the
missiles
thing.
into the sky.
I was very prepared to say Wilford with his forever train dream and then him making it a reality and then being like, you laughed at me, but now you want to be on my train. But you're right. It starts before that because while it may have been dumb bitch behavior in, say, 2011, in the 2013, 2014 of this movie, it's very smart bitch behavior because somebody else is shooting CW7 into the environment and it's bad and it doesn't go well. So probably whoever is in charge of that, dumb bitch.
I think it's like Elon Musk will be that character in our
Oh
real
my
world.
God.
God, you're so right.
It's so
Ugh.
sad.
I'm reading a book right now that has like themes of like escaping from Earth and like choosing who gets to escape and all that stuff. So this is like I'm getting too much of that this week.
Totally.
Yeah, and there was just
too
that
much.
Netflix movie, the Don't Look Up Netflix movie, which is a lot of the
God.
same themes.
Oh,
I haven't watched it.
I had a
Can't
panic
handle
attack
it.
at the end of it. I watched it with
heard
my
that from a
mother, and we
couple
both had
people.
panic attacks over the holidays watching
No.
it together. She like sat on my
Merry
bed and we talked
Christmas.
about like death and like what
Dude.
the end means. Like,
You're like,
Why
okay,
did
when
they
this
do
happens
that?
to us.
yeah.
I watched
Every
part of
year
it with my
there's a
dad.
movie.
He did not get
Oh.
that. The funniest part was that Jennifer Lawrence was so stuck on the selling the chip bags and stuff to them. He
Oh,
did not
that
get
was
that. That was
so
the best
funny.
joke throughout.
Okay, no spoilies.
No spoilies. No spoilies.
Spoilies. Well, why every year on Christmas do they have a choice that you are tempted to make but should not make, and then you watch that movie with your family and it ruins lives? Like I watched
Yeah.
Uncut Gems with
Oh
my
God,
father
no, no,
on
no.
Christmas in the theaters.
No.
He started screaming at the top of his lung in the theater. Oh my God.
I
Oh
get
my
it.
God.
I get it. That
was-
movie is an hour and a half, 2-hour panic attack.
Seriously,
it is
I had
too
to walk
much.
out. I never have to walk
I
out.
wanted
during
to walk
movies.
out. I don't walk out.
I had
I
to walk
should've.
out. I took a long bathroom break. I took some deep breaths. Then I came back and it just got worse from there. Great movie, but upsetting on Christmas Day.
It was too much chaos for me. I couldn't handle it. I did not enjoy it.
Appreciate all of these climate change parallels overall and that they're trying to remind everybody like, hey, we have to do something, like time's running out before we like shoot some CW7 into the environment. Like, what if we started moving on some things that we like know work for sure? But I gotta say, depressing. You guys heard
what a
that the world is
bummer,
bad?
you know?
I feel like I knew that before this movie, but gosh, they really drove it home.
I think
Mhm.
the theme of this episode is Chelsea does not want to face the harsh reality.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the thing. I hear you. The world is bad. I have had those moments where I'm like, isn't the weight of the world crushing, and isn't the weight of everything that's wrong in it crushing, and don't you feel powerless to do anything in this world? That is a really defeating attitude, and it is not mentally healthy for one, and it's easy to get trapped in, and then you don't do anything, and then nothing changes,
And then you
so
get
you have
eaten
to-
at the end of a train because you can't survive.
maybe you get eaten, not me. I'm different.
He obviously
Rip to
wouldn't get
you.
eaten. He wouldn't
I'm
get eaten
like,
because he's already
These
had a polar bear.
muscles, and yeah, I've already fought polar bears in the
Yeah.
Arctic.
Exactly. What
I'm a
happened?
survivor.
lucky.
I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to
You-
stop.
Keep going.
Oh, what's the
rest of
next
song.
lyric?
Keep going.
I'm a survivor.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna
I'm a
give.
survivor.
I'm not gonna stop.
And I'm
I'm keep on moving.
No.
That's not it.
on surviving.
Damn it. Damn it.
Christian really wanted to audition to be the new singer of the podcast.
oh.
He couldn't cut it.
I know I couldn't. Damn it.
Just keep going. Go into the O's. Go immediately.
Oh, the
into
O's
the
are great.
O's,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. And then you
don't
win.
worry about it.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
But okay, I'm gonna speak for Christian right now. We're
Okay.
not negative Nancy's.
Yeah.
We just are, you know,
We're not Donald Downers.
no,
We're realists.
I like Donald Downer.
Sure,
He's
sure,
just
sure, sure,
realist, but I'm very happy most of the time, you know. I
Yeah.
just tried to forget what is happening. Also, didn't say this earlier, but when I saw the polar bear, I immediately was like Lost. It reminded me of Lost, and when Lost jumps the shark with the polar bear, literally immediately, and I was like, and then it ends, so I didn't have time to think about it. But you know,
Well,
dumb
but
bitch
there's
is
also
mankind.
here's the thing. Even if humanity dies and the only remaining two people who survived get eaten by a polar bear, the world has gone through cataclysmic apocalyptic events in the past. Whether or not we populate the earth, the world keeps turning. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, it's not going to
absolutely.
get fully destroyed.
polar
The
bears.
polar bear has survived these past 17 years. They perhaps will inherit the earth and do better things with it. So
And that
maybe
also
that's
means that there's a
optimistic
food
as
source
well.
for them. Like they're
Yeah.
like a polar bear doesn't survive for 17 years without food.
Exactly.
Nothing.
There is
Exactly.
food sources
a
out
rich
there. So there are other
environment.
animals, which also
Exactly.
means that maybe there are
People-
humans that like
Here-
went underground into
exactly.
caves and
Okay,
survived. So
We
there
see
yeah.
could be humanity there.
that is
the
hopeful.
oceans are frozen. I think we can tell or assume at some point. We do see like a frozen ship at one point.
Because
I
they
don't
travel
know-
over the ice on the
Yeah,
tracks. So
but
it must be frozen.
presumably the tracks were laid before the world froze. So there has to be some infrastructure that lets the tracks cross the ocean regardless. But I think that there's a really good chance that the people who did not stay on the surface, who did not stay exposed to the elements, are actually potentially faring a little bit better than the 7 who escaped the train, who froze to death on top of a mountain
Yeah.
with all of the wind chill around them.
I think that
Mhm.
what Bong was trying to do with the film by showing the polar bear at the end it was another twist. It was the 18th twist, and it's him being like, actually, it was all organized by polar bears in the first place because they're the ones getting fucked the most by global warming. And
They
so
took their
come out, and the
revenge.
polar world,
my gosh.
the
shit.
polar bears are like, this is our world now, and you're
my God.
just living in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Wow,
because
like
a
that.
good
About
for
it.
her movie.
if
Yeah,
all
and
of those
then-
people just froze to death. The polar bear have an unlimited supply of frozen
Of
people. They could
popsicles.
just eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. He looked very
I'm
healthy.
back on
And
board.
also, let us watch the sequel in 40 years from now, where it's like Planet of the Apes, and the polar bears are the only thing that live, and
Mhm.
they have become, I don't know, they can speak now. I would like to see a humanoid polar bear world. I'm down
How
for
did they
that.
get spliced?
Well, they don't
It's
That's
have
not
to be
my.
humanoid.
I'm not the
But
writer.
it's like evolution or whatever.
I
Like
see,
we were
I see.
monkeys, and then we became whatever we are now. So maybe
Do you
that
think
will
polar
happen with
bears are going
polar
to turn
bears.
into like Wookiees
maybe.
I hope
eventually? Yeah, I mean, that'd be great.
so. That would be awesome. That
Yeah.
would be so cute. Oh
My-
man.
My question with the humans that might have survived off the train for 17 years, like what happened to all those like apocalyptic bunker livers in like Montana that like bought those, like, what are they called?
Those people froze to death.
Oh,
How long do you think they made it in their bunkers that they
2
outfitted?
minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
Not long at all.
They made
I
him
wish
zombie
them the
proof, but
best.
not cold proof.
Yeah,
Right,
that bear attack in New Hampshire thing I was talking about earlier, that was like a libertarian dream town where it was like, we're gonna live here and we're gonna decide all of our own things and nobody can tell us what to do, because New Hampshire, I didn't know this about New Hampshire, but apparently all of New Hampshire is like, we don't pay taxes.
Their whole motto is,
their whole thing.
what's their motto? Their
like,
motto
live
is
free, die hard.
live free or die. Live free or die. That's their state motto. I'm pretty sure.
It's
like that's
actually
right.
yippee-o-ki-yay,
You're right.
motherfucker. That's actually what it is.
But so these like
I'm looking it up.
libertarian online message board communities were like, let's start a libertarian haven in this town in New Hampshire, but they had a bear problem, and because nobody wants to pay more taxes to like the Fish and Wildlife Association, they don't have many ways to like combat their bear problem. And then some people were like feeding the bears, and then other people were like, hey guys, maybe don't do that. Part of being a libertarian is being responsible. And other people were like, being libertarian means I do what I want.
And then they immediately were eaten.
And
As
also,
they said that, the bear went.
Yep.
They're not like mandating like bear safe trash cans by any means. And so they're having a major bear problem over there.
The bears are back,
Well,
baby.
The bears like broke
They
into
tried to
people's
live
homes and
free, but
attacked
they
people.
died instead. Is
They
basically
It
died
what
wasn't just
happened.
like
Yeah,
bears
they
in the
died
street
hard.
and bears in the outside. The bears were coming inside to your home to get you.
Man,
So,
I
No
love that
bueno.
this is like that episode where we talked about wolves for 40 minutes.
That was
Like,
also my doing.
It's important. No, it needs to happen.
Mhm. This is Animal
Okay,
Planet.
I guess we should get to
Mhm.
our knives out of fives, because the
Okay.
dumb bitch is definitely mankind. We're in
Yeah.
agreement.
And
Yeah.
fair enough.
So Chelsea, what did people think about Snowpiercer 2013?
People liked it a lot. On IMDb, it has 7.1 out of 10, which is not as high as you might think, but on Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it 94% fresh, which is like
Wow.
hugely high. And then audiences were more in line with IMDb's like self-rating system, and they gave it 72% fresh. But also, this was one of those movies that got entered into like 1 billion different film festivals, and so it won a lot of like smaller awards all over. So this was really, really well received critically, and obviously beloved enough. And Bong Joon Ho proved himself enough once he won Oscars that they were like, we'll throw money at his projects, and so they gave him a TV show. So, you know, clearly people like it. People wanted more.
Okay, well, who wants to give their knives out of fives first? I can. If
Go for it.
Okay, cool. I've seen this movie before. I loved it before. For some reason, remembered it being sad and long, which is a bad impression to have, but I remember loving it. But I really loved it on the second watch. I mean, it's an all-star cast. They all knock it out of the freaking park. I love Bong. I love all of his movies. I love how campy this is. I love it. It's like funny. He brings comedy into a lot of his movies. Even Parasite has some really funny parts to it too. Like, and we already talked about The Host, and there's
These
other
movies would be unbearable to watch without comedy. It would be too dark,
you would just
too
fucking cry.
Yeah.
It would be brutal. And yeah, I'm glad that they make it the most epic, brutal parts of the movie where you really start contemplating life and how horrible this whole thing is right at the end. So then it's over, and then you're like, okay.
Like, oh, thank God.
You're like, okay, it's done. But yeah, beautiful costume design, set design. Honestly, where are the deleted scenes with the other train cars? I need them. I'll have the show for that. So I'm gonna give this a 4.7 for me. I really liked this movie a lot. I just think it's like a beautiful. It was a lot to squish into a normal movie length. And he didn't go full Midsummer with it. So I don't have the attention span for like a 3-hour movie. I got to pause it and like have an intermission and that sort of thing. But I didn't need that for this one. And so I really, really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I think for me, I thought it was a lot of movie. It was a lot of movie in 2 hours, and it was a lot of really wonderful world building. And I think I found some of the dichotomy and the aesthetic jarring between like the very grim, dark back of the train, and then like the richly colored fronts of the train, and like Claude in her yellow coat coming in. It felt I didn't like, it was so purposeful. It was so clear that it was purposeful, and that it was really well done. But to me, some of the cinematic shots and the way that they really will do like a slow-mo zoom in, hyper focus at parts, it just like is not quite the aesthetic that I'm interested in. And so while I was really interested in the story and the world building, and I thought it was really good, it's not necessarily a movie that I would rewatch. Although maybe I would have a different experience the second time around once I'm like able to appreciate all of the things and the lead up once I know where it's going. But I do think it was really good. And so I probably would give it like 4 knives out of 5s. It was not the movie for me necessarily, but I absolutely respect like what it was doing.
Fair. That's fair.
That's
Still a good score.
That's how I feel. I'm not a big apocalyptic like end of the world, because like either I'm going like full balls to the wall and I will not like myself in the apocalypse, or I'm just gonna kill myself. Either way, like it's not a good situation. So I'm like, movies make like, I don't know, like apocalyptic movies are just like not my thing. But the actors in this movie, like just the like straight up stacked cast, like I would probably give this movie like a 3.5 out of 5, but just the acting, I'm gonna do a 4.
Oh,
like,
she bumped it up.
Here's the thing. Truly, like Chris Evans, like talking about how he like they cannibalized themselves was like so fucked up and so good all at the same time.
And like actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the way they did stuff with Yona was really interesting as well, with like her clairvoyance was used like really sparingly and really well, where it was like Chris Evans was standing there at the front of the train in that moment with Wilford being like, take the reins, and he's got his like deep purple eye bags and just looks absolutely so emotionally broken down, and you'll almost see him about to be like, fuck it, why not, maybe, or like you can see that he's wavering, he's not sure, and it's only when Yona goes over to the floor tile and is like, there's something going on here, and you get the Timmy reveal, that it like really seals the deal for him and for the movie. So I think it was really well done. But it's I prefer like a, from him at least so far, I prefer Parasite, which is like a much more grounded in our world, not quite as fantastical. Like the cartoony stuff served a purpose, but it was like a little cartoony for me.
I forgot about her clairvoyance, and that makes me believe all of a sudden that maybe she knew that polar bear was benevolent and wouldn't attack her. Holy shit.
Kristian,
Otherwise she wouldn't have she wouldn't have gone out there. She wouldn't have gone out there with a small child. She would have known there's a bear, and she would have known that it's safe to go out there, even though there's a polar bear out there. That there's a chill bear.
Welcome to the team, Kristian.
Wow. Did I just become an optimist?
Oh my God. Congratulations.
You know what I'm feeling? Joy?
Yeah. What is this feeling? It's so rare. Ugh, it feels gross. I want to smile a lot. Okay. So for me, I don't like apocalyptic films because they stress me out and they give me panic attacks. But if I am going to enjoy one, I want it to be campy, maybe have a bit of goof to it, a bit of comedy. So, you know, like Amazon had Greenland that came out last year with Gerard Butler, and I can watch a movie like that because it's so cartoonishly crazy, the stuff that's happening, and they have to travel to Greenland, and yet they make it. No one's going to make it to Greenland from somewhere in the United States, you know, learning how to fly their own plane and like land it and shit like that. Like, it's just crazy. But I would say that a film like this, where it's like goofy and it's fun and stylized and slick as fuck, and the acting is on point. I don't know how they got this cast for this film,
which is
like
crazy.
What is the pitch on this thing?
Yes,
to get John Hurt to be in it with like Tilda Swinton, like
And it covers the
Octavia.
whole spectrum because that girl who played Claude, I think is her name, the yellow coat lady.
Right.
She's been in one other movie. She was like a college student in Belgium, but Bong Joon Ho had seen that movie and was like, I want that girl. And she thought it was going to be like an indie movie. And then she was like, Chris Evans is here. Tilda Swinton is here.
Yeah.
Sir John Hurt. Sir. He's a
sir.
Sir
We
John
haven't
Hurt
been
is
honoring
here.
his title this whole time.
Right.
Sir John Hurt. Let's honor that title. Yeah. And sort of like Monica, like I remember the movie being really good, but also remember it being dark. I don't remember it being as goofy and fun and interesting as it was this time.
Scene.
Yeah, exactly. This was so much more fun. Like, I feel like I'm going to remember the film better now.
Okay.
Because I'm in a different place 10 years later since I watched it the first time or whatever. But it's, I don't know, but like, it's so much better than I remembered it. And I remembered liking it. I just couldn't recall so much of it. But some of the imagery is really, really stuck with me. The protein bars, that really stuck with me. There's just like things that visually just are imprinted on your mind. So I'm going to give it 4.5 knives out of 5 knives. So I guess like a butcher knife and a paring knife.
I love that.
Oh,
4 butcher's
I like
knives and a
that.
paring knife out of 5.
we've never visualized our knives in such a
visualization.
way.
You should be visualizing these
Wow.
knives.
Little
I mean,
tiny
We should.
knives.
yeah. In
And
fact,
then
a,
why not
a,
just
a paring knife
and
is too
not
small.
like a cheese knife.
No, a paring knife is too small. So let's say like 4 butcher's knives and like a vegetable chopping knife. So it's not quite a full
Ooh.
butcher knife, but it's
Yeah.
4.5.
Ooh, all
Wow.
Maybe like a
right.
bread
I love
knife. It's
that.
like long, but it's skinny.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking of like one of those.
Serrated edge.
The one
I'll
with the
go with a
holes in it?
serrated edge. I was going to go with one of the ones where it's just like almost like an Asian blade where it's like curved and then flat on the bottom, but it doesn't have like
Yes.
that traditional European chef's
Mhm.
knife.
I have one of those.
There you go.
fun.
I don't
Great for
cook enough to
vegetables.
really
Hence
clue
the
in.
vegetable knife.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that visualization, and I will use that. We will use that moving forward.
Please
What
do.
type
Please,
of
by all
knife?
means. Yeah.
We're gonna owe you
Awesome. Okay.
royalties
I give this to you.
for free.
Please.
Aw,
So
thank you.
generous.
You have it on the record. Yeah.
Aw, so sweet. But we just wanted to say thank you for joining us, Kristian. We really appreciate having you here, and it's been really fun reflecting on the
fun.
movie, especially with the show coming out. Season 3 premieres this Monday, June 24th, so it'll be yesterday by the time you're listening to this episode. So I know from IMDb that we see you at least in the first episode, but is there anything you can tell us about the rest of the season? Anything you want to tease?
Well, I pop in every once in a while when you think you've forgotten about me, I'll like pop back in and my character is comedic, I would say, a bit goofy, and he's a real fish out of water when it comes to what he has to do on the train.
Okay.
Ooh,
That's a great tease. That makes me want to be like, now I have to watch the first 2 seasons so I
There
can
you
catch
go.
up.
Gotta binge.
seriously.
Then
It's
I
got
did
Sean
my
Bunn in
job.
it.
He said
right.
fish out of water. Is this some sort of coded
Wow,
thing
back to
with
the
the
fish
fish
scene.
from
Back to the fish scene.
yeah,
I
I
don't know.
mean-
And actually, I didn't mean to do that, but that totally lines up
tracks.
in some way
Oh,
with my character.
mysterious.
Easter egg.
Yeah,
Easter egg.
Easter
Oh,
egg.
now I'm thinking about the Eggman. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh.
But the way that Kristian's character pops in and out of the show, you might see him pop in and out of our social, because we'll also be sharing an Instagram Q&A with him at the end of our Snowpiercer week, which is going to lead us into our next episode, because we're going to ask Kristian a couple questions, nothing spoilery, but a couple of questions about the movie that we have up next, because some of his buddies were involved in that one as well. Monica, do you want to introduce what we're doing next?
We're doing Scream 5.
We're doing
I'm
Scream 5, and we're
so
calling it Scream 5.
excited.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
well, I'm
calling it
sorry.
Scream 5.
Scream 2022.
No,
How about
don't
that?
even.
I'm sorry.
I'm so jealous because I still haven't seen it. And
Mhm.
because I'm in Montreal filming right now, and because of Omicron, everything is locked down. Like there's no cinemas open right now.
No.
So I
that's
can't
right,
watch Scream. I still haven't seen the new Spider-Man film. There's like
Oh, I
There's like a
You're
whole
suffering.
bunch of films. Yeah, exactly. I'm like
You
trying
are.
to avoid spoilers on the internet.
I'd
and
say
it's
fly to
really
LA,
fucking
see it
hard.
with us. Monica and I are we've both already seen it, but we're gonna go see it again so that it's fresh for us. Sydney
Excellent.
has yet to see it, so really no spoilers when we do our Q&A.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you have to like quarantine when you'd go back? So maybe that's not even. Also, it would cost you
might
money.
have to.
But you're welcome if you want to join.
So kind of you. Thank you very much. I will consider that. Also, the production might not let me
You just
go.
let
We'll
us
see.
know.
Yeah, I will.
But either way, Chelsea and I saw it already. We're so excited to cover it. Y'all know Scream is our origin story. We started
You're
off
using
the
that language from that
podcast.
guy on Twitter.
Yes, maybe the VP of AMC told us that we have to scrubber. What words am I saying? We have to cover Scream because it's our origin. And I was like, why does the VP of AMC know about our
He
origin
doesn't
story?
post,
I
but
don't
he
know.
is tweeting.
It's
If
a
you're
mystery.
listening, sir, would
It
you
seems
like
fake, but
to
we'll see.
collab?
But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it. So that's going to be amazing. And you know that Matthew Lillard's going to come up even more. It's unavoidable. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Honestly, I am so desperate to know what Sydney thinks. So I really can't wait.
It's going to be sick.
I'm so
but
excited.
yeah.
Like scary movies, Sydney.
Yes,
I mean, it's just
I
like
do.
it's perfect.
She was born for this.
Born for it.
Born.
Well, okay, we already teased it, but we're going to have some amazing content with Kristian this week. So, what a great opportunity to follow us on social media. Oh my God. Maybe if you guys all follow us at the same time, Instagram will make us verified. It's not how it works. But maybe. So you can get us at spooky_Tuesday. That's on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. We're also at Spooky Tuesday Pod on Tumblr and Facebook. And I just updated every single one of our reviews on Letterboxd, so you should go look at it at Spooky Tuesday. And yeah, why not after that give us a gift? You know what you should do? You should give Kristian a gift and tell him how great he was on the pod and how hilarious he is and how amazing he is and how beautiful he is. And you can send that gift into the text box of the Apple Podcast review along with a 5-star review.
I thought you said gifts with a T. I want gifts with a T.
That's how you'd like your presents.
In
the form of a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. So not gifts. I also like gifts, but gifts and gifts and 5-star ratings, mostly 5-star ratings.
Mostly 5-star ratings.
For you guys.
Send him a gift. He checks his DMs, guys. That's how we got to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get every podcast.
Kristian Bruun name searches. You heard it here first.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God. But yeah, give him a gift. He deserves it. We deserve it. 5 stars. Apple Podcast, Podchaser, Spotify. It just makes sense.
Just do it.
Just do it already.
Yeah.
And you know what? Thanks for listening.
Bye, Spookies.
I know that babies taste best.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.